Ready to go racing in Darlington County, South Carolina. The 106th NASCAR race in what's now the Sprint Cup Series. Here is how they'll line up. Matt Kenseth on the pole. Been a long time since he's done that. Jeff Gordon alongside. Ryan Newman. Sam Hornish, his best qualifying effort ever. Rookie Joey Logano out-qualified his teammates. And as you have a look back through the field, Darrell's going to dial up somebody.
Matt Kenseth, it's DW. Got a copy, buddy?
Gotcha, Darrell.
Matt, we know you have a fast car for one lap, a new track record last night, but what do you got for a race setup, buddy?
Oh, find out here in a little bit. I was pretty happy with it yesterday. You know that I have to have a fast oil fusion for me to qualify that good. So Drew and Chip and the guys done a great job this week. Really prepared a fast car. So hopefully it'll be fast for 500 miles.
Well, you won last night. Does that help you any tonight, Matt? Does it do anything for you?
Well, it doesn't hurt. You know, there's no information anymore that we can swap car to car. The cars are so different, but so we only get to come here one time a year, and with a new surface, it was nice to, you know, run a couple hundred miles, look around, try to find some different grooves, try to find, you know, where the grip was and where it wasn't. So I think it probably helped a little bit.
Well, you're driving my favorite car number, and you're starting in my favorite spot. Good luck tonight, buddy.
Oh, thanks, Darrell. Try to keep the 17 running good for you.
Make it a great race day with the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
Let's take a look at our FedEx Understanding the Race. This is the trends or the patterns of the last 8 spring races here at Darlington on NASCAR on Fox. First caution, roughly average about lap 22. 4 times, though, in those 8 races, we've had one in the first 10 laps of the race. The longest green flag run, average about 93 laps. A fuel run here is about 60 to 64, so we should have some green flag pit stops. The last caution, lap 317. Now, this is in the last 4 spring races because before that, it was a 400-mile race. Now it's a 500-mile race. And this is interesting. Cars running at the finish, average 36 cars. Go back to last year, 2008. 41 cars were still running at the end. The only 2 cars that were out were 2 with engine failure.
Driving the pace car tonight, 5-time Southern 500 winner Cale Yarborough. I asked him this afternoon, what made you so good at your home racetrack?
I had rather win here than anywhere else in the world, but I hated running here worse than anywhere else in the world. But I loved it. I loved to win here. I was for my, you know, hometown people, and I wouldn't take winning the 1968 Southern 500 for about all the other races put together. That was the last race we ran on the old racetrack before they redesigned it and redid it. And I wouldn't take anything in. I told Jeff Gordon, I said, boy, we've tied for 5 Southern 500s, but you never won one on that old racetrack, so you got a ways to go yet.
Darrell, she's mean and she's fast and she's too tough to tame. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Oh, I don't think we have to worry about that tonight, Larry, because these boys are going to go boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Matt Kenseth breaks away, and he'll have a comfortable lead off turn 4 and lead lap 1 over Jeff Gordon, Sam Hornish, and Joey Logano.
Mike, right now is the most treacherous part of this race because the track's dirty. These cars are all bunched up. Somebody gets in the gas or out of the gas, you run in the back of them, chain reaction.
Larry, I thought that rookie might back up, but he's in 4th spot and closing on 3rd.
Well, I think the biggest thing that helped him was 200 miles of racing last night in that Nationwide Series and had a good run.
I think the biggest thing that's helping him is they got that car where that driver is happy in the car. Just got in trouble there, Larry. He lost the back end getting into 1. He didn't hit the wall, but he pretty close.
Ryan Newman moves up to 4th.
And I think Jeff Burton, the 31, will move to the inside. You've got to have give and take here, getting in the corner. I believe Jeff Burton, the 31, he was the one that did the giving right there on the entrance of turn 3.
That's why people love to race around Jeff Burton. They know that he will not put you in a bad spot. There it is.
That is the 87 Scott Speed with rookie Max Pappas in the 13.
I just told Barry and Artie, I said, watch that turn one. That looks like trouble.
Now, Joe Nemechek qualified the 87. He's the driver owner of that car. Speed missed the race, but the Red Bull team made a deal with Joe Nemechek for Speed to start that car, and he gets up and into Mad Max.
I had been watching Max Pappas in the 13 car. Started 22nd, first race here. He was backing up in a hurry.
Now here's a guy that's going to have to do this for a while until he gets his way near the front. Boy, look at that. The 48 car. Fortunately, the apron's pretty wide here. You got a lot of room for escape.
Pappas continues. Remember, Jimmy Johnson crashed in qualifying. That's why he had to start at the back of the field in a backup car.
Mike, you look back at our FedEx Understanding the Race. On the average, the last 8 races, the first caution comes on lap 22. But 4 times in those 8 races, we had one in the first 10 laps. It didn't let us down tonight.
All right, here's your hint for tonight's Aflac trivia question. It happened here. What was the largest field ever to start a race in what is now NASCAR's Sprint Cup Series?
We can't answer until we see the duck again.
It happened here. Want another clue? 58 cars failed to finish. 58 DNFs. Imagine how big the field was.
And we've got a lot of the guys that were at the back of the field, including Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, making pit stops. Remember, this is the first laps this car has made because he crashed in qualifying, and there was no practice after qualifying, Steve.
Larry, they made a quick chassis adjustment. Chad Canal said, don't expect me to do any radical strategy until we get this car handling well. Quick chassis adjustment for Jimmy Johnson.
And I will guarantee you, if they get enough caution flags in early going, they will get that car exactly what they're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
They always do.
And Larry, if you're going to work on your car, it's got to be in this early going because, like I said, these cars all bunched up the way they are. We're going to have a few little bump and runs here.
How do you learn a place as treacherous as Darlington when you come here for the first time? Well, today in the Home Depot rookie file, Joey Logano 2 weeks ago got the ride of his life here at Darlington.
All right, my turn.
If you don't try to drive it too deep in these corners and get back in the throttle, no matter how much throttle, just get back, just have some throttle on that thing as quick as you can. It just gives you more control of the car. You can play with the throttle some, but the quicker you get back on the throttle at this place, it doesn't, all other racetracks aren't like this.
Right.
And it even works down here too.
Cale Yarborough with rookie Joey Logano.
Yeah, and you use the throttle to keep the car out of the wall. When it starts up the track, nail the throttle, not the brake.
Here's something new. This is in Michael Waltrip's Napa Toyota. You've been asking for foot cam, and so have we.
Thought it said high DW there for a minute, but
I know somewhere there's a logo on those shoes.
there's something on there.
Okay, it says Mom on the right. Oh, love you. I love you. That's an I inside a heart. I love you, Mom.
Yeah, we love you, Mom. That's a cool deal. But it's just drivers brake with their left foot. A lot of people don't realize they use both feet to drive. Right the gas, left the brake.
You don't see the clutch pedal. It's even further to the left. We're ready for our Claret and Clear to Drive restart. Live Claret and Clear indoors and out.
Restarts can be just a little treacherous. Pick up a lot of sand and dirt on your tires. Got to watch when you don't spin them on a restart and get run over from behind.
Single file restart because all cars are on the lead lap. There are no lap down cars. So all in one line, snaking around Darlington Raceway.
With Jeff Burton in that 31 tried to time that restart and get inside of Logano in the 20 going into 1, but he's going to have to fall back in line down the back straightaway. Darrell, don't you think that's one of the things you do here at Darlington, especially in the early going, is don't push the envelope, wait for the guy in front of you to make the mistake and then go by him, especially if you're a little faster than he is.
Guarantee you this is the joint where I learned not to beat myself, and it's easy to do here.
Two drivers left a big gap on that restart. Car in the wall. Robbie Gordon turned 2, and he continues.
Got in it pretty good over there, the 7 car, Robbie Gordon.
Nope.
We stay green.
I don't think he's going to be able to get down for pit road. Nope, he's going to stay on the racetrack. Let the spotter have a look at the right side.
You know, you can rub this wall with the right side of the car, but you can't. If the car just turns and bounces off the wall, that does some damage. Good thing that some of these guys can get in on the apron here, because there's just not enough room to do that. That's the kind of classic get under a guy and force him up off the 2 over there. That's a old passing move that you have to use.
See David Ruderman right there in the 00 car back in the 23rd position. Now that's a backup car for David Ruderman, but because he qualified with the backup car, he was able to start the race where he qualified.
Ruderman moving past Clint Boyer.
One at a time here, one at a time. Doing a great job, clear by 2.
I've been watching this 18 car, Mike. Kyle Busch, the winner from here a year ago, didn't get a very good qualifying run in. He said he actually underdrove the race car in qualifying. Started 14th. He is now cracked the top 10 up there in the 9th spot.
Just had a race 1 here last night, and caution flag came out with 2 to go, and he had a right rear tire going down. He had to pit. Ended up handing the win to Matt Kenseth.
Said he ran over a piece of debris. Kenseth won the shootout, the overdrive green-white checker.
You know, as I watch that red 9 car, Casey Kane, this has been a good racetrack for Casey. Got a decent qualifying run in. He's qualified in the top 10. He's up in the top 10. They need a good run with this 9 car tonight. They need to stop the bleeding right now.
And what you saw the 31 car do is what a smart driver does here. He let up on the gas on the straightaway so Casey can make the pass, and they don't go into turn 1 side by side. That's really, really dangerous here going into corners side by side.
3rd place. Sam Hornish, who had a great qualifying run, started 4th, running 3rd, under pressure from Ryan Newman.
You know, you look at Ryan Newman, he was Sam Hornish's teammate last year at Penske. He's probably looking out that windshield and say, you go, Sam, look at you up there, running in the 3rd spot.
Sam's had quite a season, all positive.
But I think Sam's a perfect example of when we judge a driver sometimes when we should have been judging the team and the car. Last year, that Penske team didn't have cars that could run like they're running this year. Now we're saying, hey, Sam's finally figured it out. Sam hadn't figured out anything. The team figured out stuff.
Yeah, his teammates, Kurt Busch, David Stremme, have done really well, and Sam has too. Steve.
Well, Mike, last week Darrell talked about Sam's confidence, how it's growing. A minute ago, he told crew chief Travis Geisler, I'm sliding around a lot, especially in 3 and 4. Travis said, just be smooth, buddy. All night long, we're going to be good. So a lot of confidence all the way around.
What is Travis doing? He's trying to be a salesman because everybody's car is sliding around.
Yeah, here's a golden rule here. Don't get behind on your steering because you get that old hard, hit that old wall.
Mark Martin started 12th, running 14th. Tony Stewart making a pass just ahead of him.
Been watching this here. That 24 car is on the prowl. I think we'll see a little give and take here.
Smart.
Matt Kenseth said, you caught me? That must mean you're faster than I am.
Jeff Gordon becomes the 2nd leader of the race tonight in Darlington, South Carolina. Hope you're enjoying NASCAR on Fox. 2nd caution of the day. While we were away under green, Carl Edwards bumped the wall while running 6th. And here's a single car spin off turn 4 by Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, you just see him coming off 4 there and all by himself. The car just bad loose. Boy, I mean, that's just.
Right outside. Just hang on, buddy.
The good news, Darrell, he didn't hit anything.
No, he didn't.
Pit road is open. Steve Burns.
Sam Hornish will get 4 tires, Mike. They're also going to make a track bar adjustment. They're also going to adjust the right rear air pressure for Sam Hornish. Krista.
Kyle Busch is extremely calm on the radio, telling Steve Addington what his car is doing. He's saying it's just a tick free in, tight off. Steve Addington's call, a quarter turn down on the track bar and air. Nick.
So
the brand new race car extremely unhappy behind the wheel. He has lost 8 positions since the drop of the green flag with a car that's way too loose. Matt.
7-time Darlington winner Jeff Gordon, his car was loose when he finally got out front. Meanwhile, the 17 at Kansas, his car was way tight. They were going to make a track bar adjustment to try to get the splitter off the racetrack.
Jimmy Johnson, did Johnson stay out? He did. He gets the lead. Coming to the restart after 24 laps complete. Jimmy Johnson did not pit. He stayed out on the racetrack. Everyone else behind him has fresh tires.
And you know what? I do believe I like this move. He did pit on lap 5, so he did get fuel on lap 5, didn't get tires. But I just think being back there in the back is a recipe for getting in trouble.
Oh, yeah, it is right now.
Ryan Vickers just backed up the field midpoint of the backstretch. You see him there 5 wide trying to get around him.
Ryan Newman took just 2 right side tires in his 39 car. A lot of different strategies on pit road. He's looking for the lead. They also wanted to see how 2 right side tires work. Looks like right now early looks good.
Right now this is just a time when you don't need to be racing, but you can't help it. You're all wadded up here and you got to go. You get run over.
Newman becomes the 4th different leader of this race.
See Kevin Harvick there in the 29 car. What Gil Martin and that group did, just did fuel only, no tires at all.
You know, I was watching Dale Jr. And he was moving up pretty good, but I just looked at the scoring monitor, Mike. He's back to 33rd.
He's
been to pit road, right?
Here's what happened to Junior.
5-4 right here, bud, right here. Nice, don't slide. Back it up.
Had to back up. That was costly.
This is race number 11.
Underneath the tire, 4 tires.
Back straight away.
Car in the wall, bounced off, keeps going.
It's a 47 car of Ambrose, and he got in the outside wall, but he saved it, didn't hit the inside wall.
So he had a pretty good encounter with the wall yesterday.
No caution. Folks, we're going to get cited a lot tonight for people getting into the wall and not bringing out a caution. Here's what happened to Marcus Ambrose. Just coming into view now, the white and blue car.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a hard lick. Plus, I saw sparks coming out from under the car, so maybe they had the air pressures really, really low in that car.
With smoke in the right rear.
But that was a hard lick.
It was. The car is definitely out of line now.
And it was a heck of a save because a lot of cars would have come off that wall and spun into the inside wall. Nice save.
Got the brothers there, Kurt Busch in the 2, Kyle Busch in the 18. This is a battle for 10th. Michael Waltrip in the 55, 1 lap down.
Now, remember what Kyle said about Kurt last week? That, you know, they didn't always have the same philosophy on the racetrack. Like he seemed like his brother always thought he was putting him in a bad spot.
Well, Kyle felt that his brother wouldn't work with him at all at Talladega.
He did.
We saw the Dale Earnhardt Jr. miscue on pit road. Steve?
Mike, the other element to that is they were going to put on 2 tires to get track position, but once they overshot the pit, they backed them up. They made the decision to take on 4.
Now, they'd already given up all the position anyhow. Why not go ahead and take on 4? But what I was going to say before Ambrose got in the wall, and I don't want to just keep beating this horse to death. We've had 11 races. He's probably had problems on pit road at least half of those races, and normally multiple times in a race.
You know the one where he didn't have any trouble on pit road? Talladega. And where did he finish?
Right there in 2nd, I think.
2nd. Turn 2.
It's Casey Mears in the 07, A.J. Allmendinger in the 44. We do have caution. A lot of damage to that 07 car.
I believe also Denny Hamlin in the 11 was involved. And that'll put us under caution for the 3rd time today. That's Denny Hamlin. Farm Bureau car. Let's see how this develops.
Well, there's just too many cars for the amount of track we have to race on. And the 07's down on the apron. He comes up and gets into the side of Brian Vickers in the 83. Oh, hard lick for the 07. Here comes Hamlin. He saves it.
Boy, how did Strimmy get through there in the 12? I don't know, but he did.
Starship.
Tell you what, Vickers did a good job of saving that 83 car.
Yeah, he did.
And 31 gets through there. Jeff Burton, untouched.
Boy, David Strimmy in that 12 just squeaked by too.
Let's ride with David Reagan through this one. Another nice save. We're under caution in Darlington. Third caution of the day in Darlington. Casey Mears took a hard hit in that multi-car accident down between turns 1 and 2, and they're still trying to realign the 99, the Aflac Ford of Carl Edwards, and repairs made to Allmendinger as well. Robbie Gordon's been on pit road a couple of times, Carl Edwards twice, multiple pit stops for repairs, and here comes Kurt Busch, who was running in 11th place.
He was
pit
backing up
open.
in a hurry, though,
Yep.
and I think that's the reason, Dick, they decided to bring him to pit road onto this caution.
And they're going to make major changes to Kurt Busch's car as he comes in. They're going to see the wrench in the back window. They're going to try to tighten it up. There was a miscommunication between driver and crew chief as to what the driver wanted done to the car for the start of this race. And this is the problem. He wound up with a car that was way too loose.
Denny Hamlin, right side damage from the crash that put us under this caution.
They
straighten that out.
They just put an air wrench on the track bar. Screw on Kurt Busch's car, just ran it to the ground.
Crank on it till we drop the jack.
Okay, what's the largest field at a NASCAR Sprint Cup race? It came in the second Southern 500 here at Darlington in September 1951. 82 cars started the race. The prior year winner, Johnny Mance, finished 76th. 58 cars failed to finish. Frank Mundy won the pole in a Studebaker. We are only 34 laps into the Southern 500 presented by GoDaddy.com, and already it's been a busy night in Darlington. Going to be a bright full sun all day in Darlington and a full moon tonight. It's full moon Saturday night at the track. Matt, how is Carl Edwards' car?
Well, Mike, they have worked on it about 4 separate pit stops. After the last stop, Carl said the car feels good. We are good to go. He says, I'm sorry, I made the mistake. It got a little loose. When he went over the apron, hooked it, and then he caught the fence. He said, basically, I'll try to get it back. Bob Osborne said, nope, we got a long night. Don't overdrive it. You know this place.
Michael Waltrip gets the free pass, and we're ready to go back under green. Ryan Newman leads him down.
What we got to do is get these cars unwadded. Somebody needs to tell them it's like Talladega. Maybe you want to fall back a little bit and stay out of the pack. Because you just can't pack race here. If you pack race here, you're going to crash.
Kevin Harvick had a look at Joey Logano, but could not make the pass into turn 1.
He tried to time that restart just right, just like his teammate Jeff Burton did earlier on Logano, but Logano beat him down into turn 1, held the position.
Newman, Johnson, Kane, and Biffle, the front 4.
What Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson's crew chief, would love to see here, I think, is about a 20 to 25 lap run. Have a caution, then he knows everybody will come to pit road. Mission accomplished from the back of the field to the top 5 in less than 50 laps.
But see, that's just such great strategy. You know what all those front guys are going to do in the first time a caution comes out. If you're good enough to stay out at that point, hold a little position, you're good to go, baby.
Greg Biffle running in 4th place in one of those Roush Fenway Fords. Krista?
Mike, no question, Greg Biffle is good at this racetrack. 2 wins, almost 3 last year. They dominated the race before engine failure. How did they get up front after starting 11th? They took just right side tires on that last stop. No adjustments. The only thing Greg has said is right now they are killing him in 3 and 4.
And Mike, you talked about it at the top of the show, how different the ends of this racetrack is. You're trying to reach that compromise all night long. You'll get it good in one end. It'll be too loose or too tight in the other end.
Well, it's shaped like an egg, you know. One end's tight, one end's kind of sweeping, and it's just hard to get even in a car as a driver. Hard to really get a good rhythm going here because the turns are so different.
Jeff Gordon in that 24 car just a lap ago drove by Matt Kenseth in the 17. That puts Jeff Gordon back in the top 5 and 5th.
And that time differential you saw was to the leader. Sterling Marlin's car being pushed to the garage. He will join David Gilliland there. Both of those unsponsored cars, hoping to attract a sponsor and have a better day in Charlotte. Also in the garage, Casey Mears from the crash earlier.
Looks like the 17 car might be holding up Truex here. Talked to Matt there in the opening of the parade lap there, you know, and he said he felt like he had a good race set up, but he's falling back a little bit here.
You know, you're just riding with Mark Martin in that 5 car. Right now, he's back in the 8th position. Nobody knows better than Mark about racing this racetrack for about 400 to 450 miles.
Oh, he'll lurk around the top 10 all night long.
Martin Truex in the 1, chasing Matt Kenseth. This is for 6th place, and it's within sight of the leaders.
But you see where Mark's riding, and this is from experience. Nobody's on his back bumper. You don't want anybody riding your back bumper here.
They'll just aggravate you when they're back there.
Well, they'll force you in a mistake.
Steve?
Mike, Martin Truex Jr. started in the 16th position, up to 7th here early. As crew chief Kevin Mannion said today, this race is a mindset. No matter what happens, we're going to enjoy racing at Darlington.
Right now, he's looking pretty good. Started back in the 16th position, well up in the top 10.
And Larry, the other thing is we say it, and I don't think people at home quite appreciate or understand it. You cannot race the other cars. You have to focus totally on the racetrack. And that means you got to stay out of trouble and mind your manners and hit your marks. You can't have somebody worrying you to death, keeping you from doing that.
Darrell, it looks like you just can't go around here side by side and run a whole lap. That if someone catches you and gets alongside, the smart thing to do, let them go.
Well, you time it. My favorite word for this place is anticipation. You have to anticipate where you're going to catch people. Then you got to be smart enough to know when to catch them so you can pass them. You can't pass people in the middle of the corners here. You got to time it. Pass them down the straightaway.
Battle for 18th. Elliott Sadler and Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, 4th place there. And for the lead, Jimmy Johnson comes back after Ryan Newman. And in doing so, he is pulling Casey Kane into the picture for the lead.
And remember, the 48 car, even though he was on pit road at lap 5, that's the 4 tires he started this race with. But we're getting to the point where I think Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson would love to see a caution. The fuel window, about 60 to 64 laps. They were on pit road at lap 5, so they want to see a caution in the next 10 to 15 laps.
But that's very encouraging, Larry, to be able to stay out and hold your own right now. That tells you that they got a pretty good race car.
And I'm sure they're not through adjusting on it yet.
Dave Blaney qualified 33rd, and he takes his Prism Racing Toyota to the garage and presumably out of the race.
I tell you, the guy that I keep watching is Mark Martin, and I want to tell you why. This is a veteran experience at Darlington. Look where Mark is. Here, there he goes. The next car is about 20 car lengths back. He's got a gap between he and the one car who's up ahead of him. He's just riding in a little safety zone. So if anything happens, he won't get in it going out the windshield, and he won't get run over from the back.
Dick Berggren?
Well, they struggled a little bit in practice with Mark Martin's car, Mike. They've done a lot of work on it. They were looking for grip. They tried to adjust the chassis so they could get more. The balance has been good on the race car the whole way, but they just wanted to get Mark comfortable enough in the car so that he could take it to its absolute limit. Right now, it looks like they've done a good job.
Mark Martin riding in 8th place. The old man, the most recent NASCAR driver to win past his 50th birthday. And in all likelihood, the way this sport is going, the last to do so.
I think Mark, even though he probably would never admit it, or probably wouldn't, maybe hadn't even thought about it, but I really believe he'd like to break that record that Harry Gant has as being the oldest guy to win a Cup race.
Harry won at what age? 54 was his
52.
52 his final win. And Mark has announced he will drive full-time next year for Rick Hendrick in this number 5 car. His deal was for 2009 with an option for 2010 to run a partial or a full season. He's going for the full season.
And that puts him, Alan Gustafson, that entire 5 team in a better frame of mind because there's not an unknown now for 2010. But I know we've been watching Mark Martin, a car I've been watching. We felt like he had a shot at the pole yesterday, and he was sideways down in turn 1 and 2 back on lap 31. But Brian Vickers in that 83 car started back in the 35th position, and he has worked his way to the top 15. We felt like watching practice yesterday, he was going to not only have a fast car for qualifying, but he got loose, but he had a good race car, and he looks like he's pretty good tonight.
Larry, fellow who's fighting to the front is Martin Truex. He has passed Greg Biffle, and Truex has moved his #1 into the top 5 as Casey Kane draws up on Jimmy Johnson for 2nd place.
I just think the one car and Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Mannion, they were so far behind when the season started, making the move over to Ganassi with the merger, that it's taken them a while just to overcome that merger and changing shops late in the game.
Yeah, I don't think they had time to improve their cars like everybody else did because they're busy moving. There goes the 9 car right by Ryan Newman there for 2nd place, or by the 48 car, I'm sorry.
Now talk about a turnaround. We saw him pounding the wheel, hammering the switches in the dash in frustration the other night at Richmond. Here he is in 2nd place.
Got him what he wanted. They're going to have new engine package next week at the All-Star race.
Oh, speaking of the All-Star race, I believe he won that last year, didn't he?
After getting voted in by the fans. All-Star race next Saturday night on Speed.
He's going to go in there with all them Clydesdales kicking next week.
Ryan Newman just a couple of car lengths up on Casey Kane. Jimmy Johnson in 3rd, but Johnson's tires and fuel load have 17 more laps on them than the rest of the field. Jeff Gordon, Martin Truex, the top 5. Here's a timely question from Ask.com, official search engine of NASCAR. Get the answer now and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge for a chance to win daily prizes and a trip to Talladega. Happy Mother's Day to Gay, Linda, Stevie, all our moms and mothers-in-law, and all the mothers out there tomorrow.
Margaret Jean Waltrip over there in Sherrills Ford is having a big time tonight with my sisters and everybody.
Tell you what, these guys have been having fun the last few laps. Jeff Gordon in that 24 and Martin Truex Jr. in the 1.
But you know, I've been watching. I keep waiting for the. Oh, these guys are working. It's like a dance. They're just dancing around the racetrack.
After you. No, after you.
They're practicing their crossover moves and.
Now, is this fun racing, Darrell?
It
or
is.
Do you start getting a little ill at each other?
No, this is when I'll show you. No, I'll show you. Well, let me show you.
And Brian Vickers off the pace.
Yeah, we just had talked about him or getting a report. Maybe he has a flat tire.
And Larry, I think I know why. If you look at the left rear tire, I guarantee you something's gotten up against it. Most likely somebody's split or somewhere around here.
Now we're seeing Brian Vickers come to pit road. We're looking at Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car running 3rd right now in front of his teammate. We're getting pretty close to what will have to be a green flag pit stop for this 48 car. He's not been to pit road since lap 5.
But I'm watching Jimmy Johnson's lap times, and he's running the same lap times as Gordon and Truex. The only car that's really stinking up the show right now is the 9 car, and he's out there pretty good. Got to running pretty good lap times. He and Newman.
Matt?
And Jeff Gordon was saying at the beginning of this run that the car was just way too loose. Steve Letarte trying to keep track as the trend goes throughout the night of just how much this racetrack will change. Gordon says his biggest issue now, though, as he's got his hands full with the 1 and the 16, the Truex and Biffle, the car is just so tight in traffic, more of an aero-tight issue than a chassis tight.
And see, while Truex and Gordon were playing around, playing games, having fun, passing each other, here come Greg Biffle and said, y'all just keep on now. I'm just go by both of you.
Biffle in the 16.
So now he'll get into the dance with Jeff Gordon.
You know, I know y'all talked a lot about it in the pre-race about who to watch, and you talked about the Roush Fenway cars, Darrell. Definitely Greg Biffle. He's won 2 of the last 4 races here. Should have won the other 2. Blew up last year after sitting on the pole, and then the other year was bottoming the flywheel out so bad, had a mechanical failure.
Yeah, you know, it's Greg Biffle there for a while. If he hadn't had all those mechanical problems, he could have won 10 races. He was always having something break on the race car.
Earlier we talked about Sam Hornish and his great qualifying run. He started 4th but has drifted back in the field now to 16th and reports the car has gone tight on him. Steve?
Mike, he said on a scale of 1 to 5, it has gone 4. car. So it is real tight. And as we said earlier in the race, they're just trying to keep him calmed down until they get tires.
The former Indy 500 winner saw two of his Penske teammates earn front row spots for the 500 earlier today. Elio Castroneves will start from the pole.
Yes, he will. And what you got to be careful of with a guy like Sam, I mean, he's doing a great job driving these cars this year, but you got to be careful not to over adjust, that he doesn't give them too much information that they go the wrong way.
Now, Sam Hornish is one of those cars that came to pit road on lap 22, so they're probably a good 15 laps away from making what would be their green flag pit stop.
Ryan Newman, driving for the U.S. Army, came close to winning the pole, but not quite. He started third, and Newman has now led 46 of the 70 laps so far. Dick?
And it is a resurgent Ryan Newman as well, Mike. After going more than a year without scoring a top 5 finish, Newman now has 2 in a row and currently leads this race. The team's plan is to pit on lap 88. As he loses the lead, the plan is to pit on lap 88 and loosen that car up. Newman has gotten tight on every single turn of this racetrack.
Casey Kane blasts past Newman and puts the Bud car up front and becomes the 5th different leader of tonight's race.
We talked about it earlier. There you see the crew chief, Kenny Francis. The weekend they had at Richmond last week. I mean, we absolutely watched Casey Kane just beating on the steering wheel, and 1 week later here at Darlington, away from the short track, they're leading the race.
Watching that 83 car, Larry, he came in, got tires, and man, that's worth 2 seconds a lap right now.
Wow.
And he is just blowing by he came to Greg Biffle, just shot by Greg. I think Greg probably thought something was wrong with his car.
And Biffle's the 6th place car. He's under fire for Mark Martin right now. That's for 6th. The 87 is laps down, was involved in that crash earlier. Scott Speed 1 lap down.
But Brian Vickers in the 83 definitely needs this thing to cycle through these green flag stops, because right now he's actually 2 laps down to leader Casey Kane.
Marcus Ambrose has taken his Toyota to the garage. A lot of right side damage from hitting the wall off turn 2. And we'll see if they can get that repaired.
Not so lucky this week. Last week backed it in the fence, and here comes a 48. Looks like he's down on the bottom there coming to pit road.
Has to make a green flag stop because he did not come in with the other leaders on lap 22, Steve.
Mike, Jimmy Johnson just telling Chad Canals, I am tight in the center, and I'm really tight when I get back on the gas. So they're going to adjust that 48 car of Jimmy Johnson to loosen him up. 4 tires for the 48 and a chassis adjustment.
Turn 3, car on fire, sliding up and into the wall. Michael Waltrip.
Come on, buddy. Get out of that thing. Get it wound up. Come on.
Detonated big time.
Yeah, that's an oil fire. Looks, it's a lot, Mom. It's okay.
Okay.
Michael is okay. But that car, a huge explosion under the hood as he went into turn 3. And hopefully all those flames were under the car and not in the cockpit.
Yeah, it's an oil fire. The engine blew up, and because of that, oil goes on the headers and everything, and it just flames up like that. It's not good, but it's not as bad as it looks.
That was a scare. Have a look at it.
See what happens here. Man, oh man, that thing just exploded
big time.
I mean, it looks like a fuel car at the drag races.
Darrell, you've got to wonder if that spin earlier, if that engine stopping, counter rotation, whatever, might have stressed components to where this happens down the road. Yes, no?
It very well could have, Mike. Certainly anytime you turn a car around and turn the engine backwards, or over rev the engine. But see how the flame is staying out of the cockpit? Yeah. It's not going up in the car with Michael. It's all behind. It's smoky in there and it's hard to see, but there's the only problem when you get sideways. Like you see how it tries to suck the flame in the car with him. But I think he's okay. I think he's fine.
Whoa, guys! Major issues. We are detonated big time.
The best news, though, Michael Waltrip is okay.
Yeah, he's fine. And had a tough weekend. The car hadn't been very fast all weekend. Had that trouble early, and now this.
Now pit road is closed because of Michael Waltrip's car sitting on pit road. Now we need to bring you up to speed and up to date on Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, who was on pit road when that caution came out. I do believe, looking at the scoring monitor, they went ahead and completed a pit stop. He's 1 lap down, but here's probably what will happen. We know all the leaders are coming to pit road. They will stay out. They will be at the tail end of the lead lap when this race restarts. I think he's got a good enough car to stay up there. If nothing else, he'll be the first car 1 lap down should we get the caution to get the free pass.
Yeah, that I mean, you couldn't have had any worse timing for him. No. He comes on pit road and this happens, but maybe they can still make something out of it.
Paul Menard will get the free pass. Pit road is closed because of the Waltrip incident, and it's the 4th caution of the evening. Just 77 laps into this 500-mile, 367-lap race.
But you know, that was going to ask a lot. This may have not been that bad for the 48 car, because it was going to have to go another 25 laps without a caution, or they were going to be back in the middle of the pack. So this may have actually worked out pretty good for them, unless it could have cycled all the way through.
I think it's almost like a nothing. You know, like they were going to end up where they are anyway if it cycled through.
Well, let's get downstairs in Darlington County for an AT&T race break.
Thanks, Mike. Ryan Newman has led the most laps. Casey Kane, we've been talking about the frustration, how he is currently the leader ahead of Ryan Newman and Martin Truex Jr. If you tuned in here into Darlington just a bit late, early on, Scott Speed, that's in the 87, rookie Max Pappas in the 13. Bringing out a caution. Jimmy Johnson weaves through this, and at one point was as high as a second. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon and Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, Martin Truex. Watch this racer. This is what makes Darlington so great. Martin makes the pass. Jeff comes right back underneath and makes that pass over move. Jeff gets back in front of him. This is what Darlington is synonymous about. And one thing right quick, Jimmy Johnson did get a chance to lead this race.
And moments ago, Michael Waltrip, who spun earlier, seeing the fire there, and Darrell talking about what's going through the mind of a driver. You heard the spotter talking as well.
I'm telling you right now, the spotter was very calm. That engine, I mean, it exploded. It looked like it punched a huge hole out in the old oil pan, and all that 5 gallons of oil went out the bottom of that engine, ignited. Pretty spectacular.
Casey Kane had led just 1 lap for the entire year coming into this race, and now he's out in front. What's the big turnaround?
I think right now these guys have really gone to work. I mean, can keep documenting it with Michael. I mean, what's going on right here about Larry and Darrell, about how they turned this thing around in 1 week. He was so frustrated a week ago, and right now these guys have really done an excellent job getting this car set up, and Casey so far has kept it out of the Darlington wall.
Meanwhile, Ryan Newman, 45 races since his last win, and he has said coming into this race, I know we're getting better, but it's about winning a race and winning a championship, and we need to do that to get into the chase. We have to have success, so he just doesn't want to hang around the lead here.
No, but Tony Gibson, I got a chance to talk to him earlier today, and he said these guys are finally getting on the same page. That's a look at him up on top of the pit box, and the key thing is they know that they've got to take and try to get top 10 finishes so they can score points. But if they get an opportunity and get in that top 5 like they are right now, they're going to go for the win, Chris.
And Brad Keselowski, last time we saw him winning at Talladega, back active in this race, started 31st, is inside the top 20. To vote for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award from your phone, text the car number, and the fan vote along with Jeff's selection will determine. So your vote does count. The AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award. You're watching NASCAR on Fox Under the Lights live in Darlington.
And now they have just opened pit road, and here they come. Steve.
Mike, Martin Truex Jr. said that his car started very tight, but it's coming to him. Car's a little bit neutral now. All they're going to do, a small air pressure adjustment, 4 tires for Martin Truex. Krista.
Greg Biffle's car starting to get tight. He and his crew chief Greg Irwin working together to decide how to loosen it up. A spring rubber out of the left rear is the call for the 16. Dick.
Ryan Newman's crew will also loosen up his car. He has new tire changers as of 3 weeks ago. Mike Trower, the veteran, on the front. Adam Davis on the back. They are preparing to do a 4-tire change. Manny.
On the first lap, Casey Kane took 2 tires, slight wedge adjustment. The car was a little tight, still a little tight. Tank Probus inserts the second can. Sticker tires going on this time. Casey was a little concerned because the car was a little more free on the sticker tires, and they're going to win the battle off pit road. Great job by the Bud guys.
Jeff Gordon picks up 2 spots. Matt Kenseth Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart each grabbed 3. We're under caution for the 4th time tonight. This one, Michael Waltrip explodes an engine in the back straightaway. 82 laps complete in the Southern 500, presented by GoDaddy.com. Cleanup just about complete.
Bring her
here
on
in Darlington, South Carolina.
A lot of stage driver in that corner.
Woo. Jimmy Johnson on the tail end of the lead lap, as Larry talked about before the break. Kasey Kahne the leader. And we should be coming to the green this time. Paul Menard got the free pass. He's back on the lead lap. One of 30 lead lap cars. Ready to go green with our Claret and Clear to Drive restart. Get Claret and Clear. Get back to feeling like yourself again. 85 laps complete this time.
Speaking of Claret and Clear, I'm a little bit worried about that 3rd and 4th turn. Not maybe so much being slick, but the dust is really going to create a big cloud over there when these cars go in there. It's going to be hard to see.
Green flag.
See Brian Vickers in that 83 car. Remember, he had to make an unscheduled green flag stop because of a flat left rear. He's trying to get his lap back as well, right in front of leader Kasey Kahne. Kasey Kahne, the 9, is the leader.
Nice clean restart. This is pass him if you got him time.
It's not as bad over there as I thought. I thought it would be a big cloud of dust when they went through there, but they did a nice job of getting that cleaned up.
The 87 was qualified by Joe Nemechek. Scott Speed is in it. He's a lap down.
Got a little blocking going on there.
I know a lot of our focus has been on the 1 Stewart Haas car there, the 39 of Ryan Newman, but Tony Stewart, his teammate and his owner, right behind him in that 14 car after starting 18th.
I don't know about that, but that 9 car in 83 and here, there's wrecks going on everywhere.
Yeah, A.J. Walmendinger, turn 2 for the 2nd time tonight.
But right here, Brian Vickers he's run poor Kasey Kahne all over the racetrack trying to keep him behind me. I think Kasey finally said, okay, I get the picture.
Marcus Ambrose back in the race after repair to the right side. Boy, it's not been a good night for Michael Waltrip Racing. Stacking them up in turn 1. David Reagan running 17th.
And that's what you do here all night long off the 2nd turn over here. And turn 4 as well. You just play with that throttle. Trying to get it down, but it just can't do it. Can't get it wide open.
But you see David Reagan's teammate there, Carl Edwards, at 99. Nice recovery riding with him here down the back straightaway. They've been to pit road numerous times to fix the toe out on that race car. He's now back in the top 20 and 19th.
They were on pit road a pretty extended length of time this last caution, Larry, working on that toe.
Leader Kasey Kahne has now passed Jimmy Johnson. Johnson's 48 is now in the free pass position. First car 1 lap down. If he can maintain that position when the next caution comes out.
What he needs is Brian Vickers to stay out in front of the leader. That way Brian Vickers gets his lap back the hard way by being out in front of the leader should the caution come out.
And Vickers has done a good job of distancing himself from race leader Kasey Kahne. We may have a new leader in a second because here comes Martin Truex. He is fast closing on Kasey Kahne.
You know, we was talking about Kahne and the engine in his car. It's the older Dodge engine. And I was talking to some of the guys that are working on the new Dodge engine, and they said, you know, the new engine is a lot of power, but a lot of it's upstairs. This older engine has a little bit more grunt, which would be good for a racetrack like this.
Well, Truex closed to within 4 car lengths of Kahne in nothing flat. And then Kasey Kahne hit the button, and he's pulling Truex by just a little bit now.
You know, a guy that we watched on pit road earlier that was slid through his pits, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car. We got a report that they put a spring rubber in the right rear, so I'm pretty sure his car was too tight, was not turning. That'll really help the car to turn. He's now back up in the top 20 in 20th.
Now let's go to the garage where Krista has caught up with Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, Mike, and I know Daryl already sent the message to your mom that you're okay, but I'm sure she would love to see your face and make sure that you really are. How hot did it get in the car? Are you okay? And did it burn the I love you, Mom off your shoes?
I know. At first it was scary because it went up in flames pretty big, but as the car slid, I noticed it was getting less and less. So I had Napa Adaptive 1 brake pads. Just brought it right to a stop. No vibration, no noise, just stopped it, and I got right out, safe and sound. Today's race was a result of bad practice yesterday, Krista. We couldn't get our car right. Booty and the boys had to guess at the setup, and they didn't hit it. And it was really hard to drive. Got away from me once and then finally blew up. The two weren't related, though. I never stalled the motor, just spun out and took off, kept going. Couldn't have turned it over the wrong way. It kept running.
Okay, we're glad you're okay. But, yeah, those shoes, that was, we know you're okay. Mom's glad you're okay. We saw the I love you, Mom. And the shoes are not on your feet, so we hope they're okay, too.
Macy would be proud. I don't have any holes in my socks.
Perfect for television. Thank you very much. Glad you're okay, Michael.
That is a very comprehensive report from my brother there. I mean, I think he covered every base.
Well, I like that he answered the question about was there reverse rotation on the first spin that maybe led to the explosion, and Michael says no.
Right. No, he's good. You ask him one question and you'll get all those answers out of one question.
You know, guys, we just watched Jamie McMurray in this 26 car. He just passed Ryan Newman into the 6th spot. I had been watching him during that long green flag run. He had a good race car on that long run. He started in 20th. You know, I know we've talked a lot about the bad luck that Mark Martin had at the beginning of the season. We talked about the bad luck that Ryan Newman had early in the season. This guy had a good race car a lot of those races, and he had bad luck as well.
Well, bad luck, full moon Saturday night. Kyle Busch last night ran over a piece of debris and lost the nationwide race that he had dominated, and he lost it with 2 laps to go because of a flat tire. He may have one now, is the report we're hearing.
I know he got in trouble off of turn 2 over there. Car got almost into the wall, and there was really no reason for it to do it. He's all by himself. So I think there is something going on with this race car.
And right now he's back in the 13th position. You see Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77 car and his brother Kurt Busch in the 2 car right behind him.
One thing you have to be real careful of here is with these hot, sticky tires, you get up out of the groove a little bit, you pick up a lot of rubber and debris, and it'll make you think you've got a flat tire, as we see Mark Martin continuing to just kind of roll along here.
That'll be 7th place as he passes Ryan Newman. And here comes Biffle right up to them in the 3M Ford.
Darrell, you mentioned it earlier. I get a feeling that some teams over-adjusted on these first couple of stops. One may be that 39 car of Ryan Newman, because he's lost a couple of spots, about to lose another one here just in the last few laps.
97 laps complete in Darlington, South Carolina. This is NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Darlington, where Kasey Kahne is still your leader by half a second over Martin Truex Jr. Kyle Busch did not have a flat tire. He got way up the racetrack, and as Darrell said, got a lot of debris on his tire. Thought he had a flat. He did not. But Jeff Gordon had a loose wheel and came to pit road to have that replaced. Gordon is now 1 lap down. Scott Riggs has gone to the garage area in his Tommy Baldwin Racing Toyota, and they are hoping to attract sponsorship to be able to run the whole race in 2 weeks at Lowe's Motor Speedway, the Coke 600. Matt?
Mike, Jeff Gordon had reported a vibration that had started out slight, but then progressively grew into a massive vibration. He made the call. They pitted. They found a loose wheel. He'd gone back out, ran about 2 laps, and said it is starting out just like it did the previous set. Slight vibration. I'll let you know as it gets worse and worse. Problem could be big time here on the 24.
Not handling very good either, Matt. He just came off turn 2 over there, pretty much wobbling up off the corner.
Right now he is back in the 30th position, 1 lap down, right behind his teammate Jimmy Johnson in the 48. That's 1 lap down.
And what you have to worry about when you've had a loose wheel like that is it doesn't mess up the stud, so where you can't tighten the wheel all the way back up.
Now Brian Vickers in that 83 car still out in front of Kasey Kahne in the 9. Brian in the 83 really would love to see a caution flag right now.
He is pedaling hard, baby. I'm telling you, trying to keep that 9 behind him.
And let's mention right behind Kasey Kahne, that's Tony Raines in the 34 this week, because John Andretti is at Indianapolis trying to make the 500 in a car owned by Richard Petty. So Tony Raines tapped to drive the 34 at least this week.
Yeah, and looks like Truex wants to do a little fishing tonight because he's trying to get a hook into that 9 car right now. He's right ahead of him.
Well, there's a minnow pond right outside turn 4. Don't go there.
Always like to fish and hunt.
Yeah, Tony Raines at 34 car. Those guys need to run all night, and they need a decent run because that's the car that's 35th in owner points right now. Just remember, each week the top 35 going into the race in owner points, they're locked into the show.
And Larry, Robbie Gordon had a little trouble earlier. He's a couple laps down right there with Reigns. They're both running 34th and 35th right now. That's the car he's trying to catch up with.
Yep, they're both 2 laps down. Marcus Ambrose 22 laps down. Max Pappas 32 laps back. And in the garage, Scott Riggs, Michael Waltrip, Dave Blaney, Sterling Marlin, Casey Mears, and David Gilliland.
This is Carl Edwards in the 99 car. Again, he's been to pit road many times after popping the wall. A lot of adjustments on this car. He is now in the 17th position, looking out his windshield. No longer looking out his windshield. He drives by Kurt Busch in the 2, moves to 16th.
Steve? Excuse me. Look at the wall. How it's red and white, those strobe stripes. That's another throwback touch that's new here at Darlington this year. Back when this was the Winston Cup Series, R.J. Reynolds invested in tanker trucks full of red and white paint, because those red and white walls, not only did they carry the sponsor's message, but those cars look a whole lot faster, especially at night.
350 gallons of paint to paint the walls here, and 50 man hours. That was the first time they did it. Of course, they've had to touch it up every night.
Tell you what, Martin Truex Jr. in that 1 car, he has caught leader Casey Kane in the 9. Had to back off just a little bit coming off the corner there. Just had to have a little bit of give and take coming on the front straightaway. You know, Martin Truex Jr., the one they sat on the pole for the Daytona 500. They have only had 1 top 10 finish this year. They finished 7th at Phoenix, and here they are up there trying to battle for the lead.
He has 1 win in this series, and it came at his home track, Dover, Delaware, in June of 2007. That's coming up on 2 years without a trip to victory lane. Steve?
And Mike, Martin Truex Jr. kind of struggling right now. He wants to lead, but like Darrell said earlier, he also wants to take care of his equipment and race this racetrack. Spotter Joey Meyer telling him, race your race.
Best advice that they can give him, that's for sure. Long way to go still.
Well, and
let's listen to Casey Kane through the corner here, see if he feathers that throttle like we heard Edwards doing.
Oh, yeah.
Mad at it there.
Well, not really.
Okay.
He never got it quite wide open, but listen to what remember what Cale told Joey Logano in the opening?
Get to the throttle as fast as you can. Not wide open. You don't have to get it wide open. You just got to get back to it to plant the car into the banking. He got it pretty sideways off the corner there.
And he had to jump out of it. He's going to lose the lead because of that. Let's see who gets trapped behind Regan Smith in the 78. I believe the 1 car is going to prevail here.
Nice timing by Truex to make that move where he could use the lapped car as a pick.
It's that anticipation thing where you kind of see what's going on ahead of you, and you got to run up on these things at the right time.
Matt?
About 10 laps ago, Mike, he came on the radio and told the team that he scrubbed the wall with the right rear. Then he just said, as he lost the lead about 4 laps ago, I've lost the nose. It started to go back to tight like it did the first run tonight.
You know, it's always amazing to me how drivers love their car when they're leading and hate them when they're not.
What was it Cale said on the pace lap in that interview with him? I loved winning here. I hated racing here.
Yeah, that's it.
Greg Biffle moves past Tony Stewart and into 3rd. Another past Darlington winner. All of them who were here were introduced to the crowd in pre-race, including a lot of legendary greats. 117 laps complete. 250 to go. Trouble back straightaway.
Back straightaway.
Sam Hornish.
Hold on to her, buddy. I don't think he's hit anything yet.
Caution.
Spun off at 2, Travis. Got some tail damage.
Yeah, he scraped the wall.
Let's just get it rolling here and get caught up.
That's just Darlington there. Yep. I don't think it's all that bad.
He's got 4 flats, but he's going to make it back around to pit road. Caution flag number 5. Let's look what happened to Sam Hornish.
Yeah, he's just up too high. That's just real dirty up there. A lot of trash. He stays in the throttle. Now he's locked it down. It's going to work out good for Jimmy Johnson, Larry.
Yeah, he'll get the free pass, and Brian Vickers raced his way back to the lead lap.
There's a digger's eye view. Off turn 2.
she'll be feeding time on pit road. Just about enough laps. Everybody wants to come back, get 4 tires, fill her up with Sunoco race fuel, and I'm sure some more adjustments, maybe some adjustments backed off a little bit.
Right, we'll get it right this time, I promise. That's what they always tell you.
Because Dick Berggren had definitely told me at break that they had made the 39 car Ryan Newman, as we kind of mentioned, way too loose on that run there.
It's now been about 38 laps since everyone was last to pit road. 34 of those under green. And showing that Brian Vickers did not get his lap back, that he is 1 lap down. We'll double check that as we go to Steve Burns.
Martin Truex Jr. just said, Mike, shoot, this car's pretty good. It's a little tight in traffic, but by myself, she's sporty. 4 new tires for Martin Truex Jr. and no other adjustments to that Chevrolet, Krista.
Steve, down here in the 16 pit, it continues to be the Greg and Greg show. That's Biffle and crew chief Greg Irwin. The car much better right now. Greg said it was tight before on the run. He said he likes it. The adjustments they made definitely worked. Dick Berggren.
Mark Martin in 42 starts has got just 1 win, but 6 times second. They're adjusting the chassis, a minor adjustment to try to bring him his 2nd win. Matt.
Kenny Francis and Casey Kane were debating back and forth whether to go track bar adjustment or air pressure. They decided on the track bar. He said the car had gone tight and he was starting to feel the splitter hit the track more and more as that run went on. Stop complete. He's away.
There's your race off pit road with Greg Biffle and Tony Stewart making the gains.
Mike, we need to clear a little something up. Brian Vickers was actually 2 laps down on that restart. He got 1 of the 2 back. Now he's just 1 down.
Bobby Labonte takes the lead for the first time tonight. Attention all you Digger fans. You can now get Digger on your computer and get free Digger videos, wallpapers, games, and more. Visit digger.ask.com. Getting ready for the restart, Greg Biffle is the first of 27 cars on the lead lap. Bobby Labonte's made a pit stop. David Stremme, the first car, 1 lap down ahead of Brian Vickers and Jeff Gordon. Allmendinger Hornish, Scott Speed also 1 lap down. Green flag waves over Greg Biffle.
Boy, going off in his first turn with somebody down underneath of you just really is difficult to do.
Rudeman, Newman, and Busch battling. That is for 8th place. How about a NASCAR on Fox? Full moon Saturday night. Crank it up. At Darlington, you don't see that often.
Boy,
and not for very long.
My man Rudy Tootie is pinned up on the outside, but he's holding his own here against Kyle right now.
Racing for 8th place.
But yeah, when you did mention 3 wide, you did notice right away that one of those 3 wide was that 18 car of Kyle Busch.
Listen, you think we make a big deal out of 3 wide up here? You be out there on this racetrack and you say 3 wide, you'd say, oh no, not me.
And that's what Matt Kenseth said. He was the outside car, and he pedaled a bit. Let these 2 fellows go. Kenseth is now in 10th after starting on the pole. There's Matt just ahead of Logano. Here's Dale Jr. battling the 99 of Carl Edwards. 14th place at stake here.
They made the little car a little bit better, Steve.
They have DW. Junior had said that I'm really good in 3 and 84, but 1 and 2 is where I need help. On the last stop, they didn't make any adjustments to the 88, so that car has gotten better.
Tell you what, we're a third of the way through this race, and actually both these cars, the one we're riding with there, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88, looking out at Carl Edwards in the 99, both of them have made nice recoveries. Now this right here is a battle for the 11th spot between teammates Kevin Harvick in the 29, Jeff Burton in the 31, and Kenseth in the 17.
Now Jimmy Johnson got himself back up on the lead lap while Jeff Gordon fell off the lead lap. Gordon is now 1 lap down in 29th, Matt.
Mike trying to diagnose that vibration issue for the 24 Jeff Gordon. On the last stop, Steve Letarte and the guys took their time. They looked to make sure the spacers and the studs, nothing was amiss there. They didn't find anything that what could be causing their wheel vibration on that 24.
A lot of times here, you use a lot of brake. I noticed when these guys make pit stops, a lot of black brake dust is coming out of the wheels. You get the brake rotors warped up a little bit here from overusing them, get them hot, and you'll get a vibration.
Now the car he's racing right now is in front of Martin Truex Jr. The one car he's racing, Brian Vickers, in that 83. Remember, Brian got one of his 2 laps back. Brian Vickers is the first car 1 lap down now. He would get the free pass should we get the caution.
You know, the way this car is built, the headers run through a tunnel inside the tailpipes run through a tunnel. The drive shaft's in a tunnel. A lot of the vibration of the old car, I think this car, you feel it more because this car is more rigid.
Tell you what, Greg Biffle, he has been shot out of a cannon. In fact, just after that restart, he ran his fastest lap of this race as well as Tony Stewart just a few laps ago.
Krista?
And it's not just driver doing his job. There you see crew chief Greg Irwin. He has his guys fired up. They got him the lead on that last stop. Greg Irwin radioed to his driver. How about that for a bunch of old guys? And Greg Biffle said, yeah, not bad. Now you just need to do that Thursday night, referring to the All-Star Pit Crew Challenge next week.
Well, they've given some races away on pit road this year. They had problems at Texas. There was no way, I didn't think that Greg Biffle was going to lose the race at Auto Club Speedway and slid through his pit. So they've given some races away on pit road this year.
I wouldn't be worrying about Thursday night tonight. I'd be worrying about that next time I come down pit road tonight.
Because you're going to be coming down several more times.
Ain't no time to be planning ahead. Not that far ahead.
Biffle is a former Darlington winner. He now has a 3-second lead on Tony Stewart, Matt.
And Mike, when I spoke to Darian Grubb after final practice, he said we finally have the speed and the security in the field that Tony was looking for in that 14 car. But it's been a little bit of a work in progress during the race. He, like so many others, he's been fighting a tight condition, especially on exit of turn 2. He just needed it to rotate better. They have worked and worked. They finally have it close to what Tony Stewart needs, and it's showing on the racetrack currently in the 2nd position. This is one of only 3 racetracks he's never scored a Sprint Cup Series victory.
Now the question is not will Tony Stewart win in his first year as a driver owner. The question is just when. Greg Biffle, a past Darlington winner, is in command of this race. He's now led 17 laps. He's a big pet lover. He has a 5.8-second lead on Tony Stewart. You see that is a full straightaway on the Old Spice car coming at you with Casey Kane in 3rd. Jeff Gordon moving around Stewart is not on the lead lap. Martin Truex 4th. Jamie McMurray 5th. Now here's our pole sitter Matt Kenseth, who is right now running kind of a solid steady 15th place, Matt.
And Mike, it's been a work in progress for the pole sitter. Kenseth started out loose, then it went extremely tight, and that's where it's been most of the night. At one point, he said it's a lot like turning a combination lock. You never know when it's going to catch. And then a few moments ago, he keyed the mic and said, I thought it was almost impossible to make it any worse. And it is. It is much worse. It is just plowing. I cannot turn the car.
He's losing about 3/4 of a second a lap to leader Greg Biffle, his teammate right now.
But I tell you what, Larry, this track is fast. Greg Biffle last time by ran a 29.50. His fast lap for the night's only a 28.81. Yeah. So the track is definitely fast, and these guys have adjusted up for the conditions, and they're making good speed now.
at least Kenseth is not losing positions. He is not under any pressure from Dale Jr. or Kurt Busch, the two cars behind him. His green flag pit stop at around lap 75 is the subject of tonight's State Farm Pit Road Spotlight.
Pit this time, Jimmy, pit this time. We're all around. Here we come, fellas. 10 away. Battery is there, Jimmy. Turn in, turn in, turn in. Be ready, be ready, be ready. Go, 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 go. All ass, go, go, go.
Without the expert support of Chad Knaus and the 48 crew, Jimmy couldn't put in this kind of performance and get himself back up on the lead lap. It's just like the support you can expect from your local State Farm agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm's there. New second place car, Kasey Kahne.
But while we're talking about Jimmie Johnson, let's just look at the last 3 weeks. Talladega, Richmond, and certainly here yesterday qualifying. 3 really bad events in this team's life, but still, and tonight, you know, bad timing on a pit stop. But you watch these guys. This is what makes them champions, and that's why you never count them out. They're fighting back, and before the night's over with, I bet he'll be a contender.
Wow, Kasey Kahne was trying to lap past Max Pappas, and they made contact.
My.
You know, Darrell, you mentioned those back-to-back bad finishes by the 48 car. Back in 2007, they finished 39th at Chicago. The next week, they finished 37th at Indy. And then they came back and just wore everybody out for the next 2 months.
It's like they're one of the few teams that seems like they can call timeout, reset, and start all over again and do something.
At any given part of the season.
And you never know when it's going to happen.
Martin Truex, Jamie McMurray racing for 4th place.
I tell you what, you're looking at 2 race cars. We've talked about it earlier. They need good runs, and they're getting good runs. Truex in the 1, McMurray in the 26, because their seasons, they've not had a lot of bright spots so far. We're approaching the 1/3 mark of the 2009 season.
Right behind McMurray and just out of the top 5. Mark Martin works his way ever closer to the front, chased by David Rudiman. Dick?
And the veterans radio is always interesting listening. And a few laps ago, Mark Martin said that his car was loose, but he told his crew not to worry about it, because very shortly the car is going to be very fast. And that's the kind of stuff experience buys for you.
Tell you what, a car that's really fast is that 00 of David Rudiman. I mean, he is running 7th. He's going around Mark, and you see what Mark does. Middle of the straightaway, ease out of the throttle, let the man make the pass, and then fall back in behind him. That's smart racing.
Y'all talked about him in the pre-race show. He was the guy after Richmond. Didn't have a good finish, that fell out of that top 12. He knows he's got to be solid for the next few weeks if he wants to get back to the top 12. I like what you said. The guy he's racing right now, I think the guy that's going to get to the top 12, Mark Martin at 5.
I think you're right.
Now here's Ryan Newman, who started 3rd, and Newman continues to run in the top 10. Both Stewart-Haas cars, Tony in 3rd and Ryan in 8th in the top 10 right now. Haven't seen a whole lot of Kyle Busch tonight, Krista. Why is that?
Well, Kyle's handling has not been where he wants it, but before this run, he said to his crew his car on a scale of 1 to 10 was 10 loose at the start of the run, but then it would get tight. He told Steve Addington, just make the car tight, and then I will hold them off.
Thanks, Krista. We met with Kyle earlier this afternoon, and he told us that Joey Logano, their 18-year-old rookie at Joe Gibbs Racing, coming along really nicely and really getting the feel of this car. Here is Logano in the top 10 after starting 5th.
We still got a long way to go. He had a great finish and a great run at Talladega a couple of weeks ago. If he can have good finishes at Talladega and here, I think the confidence will just continue to go up with that young man.
Well, now I think we're hitting the places where this 20 car really has always been had a good setup. Zippy and the boys have always had a good setup for the tracks that he's running good at. I think that's helping a lot too.
Logano, one of our Toyota top performers as we move toward halfway in this race. Just out of the top 10, 2 drivers that will bear watching tonight. Carl Edwards in 11th and Jeff Burton in 12th. Both the kind of long distance runners that you want to have at a place like Darlington.
Yeah, you know, right now we can talk about all the guys you want to, but until we get down with about 100 laps to go, that's when you find out who's got what. Some of these guys are just in survival mode right now. They're not really trying to show everything they got. They're just trying to stay out of trouble.
So Edwards and Burton both logging laps around 30-20, 30-50. holding station in 11th and 12th place. Rest of the top 15, Keselowski, Harvick, and Boyer. Back up front to Greg Biffle, who continues to lap this track just above 30 seconds a lap and has an 8-second lead on Kasey Kahne. Let's go down to our Ford cutaway car. Jeff Hammond on Jeff Gordon's woes.
Well, Mike, the key thing is right now we talk about vibrations a lot with this new car. And Darrell and Larry were talking about what it might be. And Darrell mentioned the tailpipes. Here's where the tailpipes run underneath this car. It's bolted right to the bottom of this chassis. So anytime you get a vibration here, the driver can feel that. Also, the drive shaft. We never talk a lot about it because you can't really see it. Here it's located, but it's encased in a solid tube that is bolted to the race car. And a lot of times when the vibration comes from a drive shaft, well, it goes all the way through this tube again, right up into the driver, and he can feel that. Another thing at Darlington I've noticed tonight, some of the sparks underneath the car are coming from the tailpipes dragging the racetrack, as well as the truck arm. See how low they're mounted? When the car gets down close to the racetrack, takes that bite, a lot of times these things will hit the racetrack and upset the race car, Larry.
Hey, Jeff, here's the thing. If you think about our schedule here, all of the practice was in the heat of the day, and these cars are going to run faster in race trim tonight, and you'll bottom things out tonight that you wouldn't bottom out yesterday.
And you're exactly right. Coming outside, the air is definitely cooled off. The engines are running faster. The track's got a lot of grip. And these components, all of a sudden, you're driving them into the racetrack faster and harder than you have all weekend long, and it's starting to show up.
If you drag the tailpipes, I mean, I think a couple of years ago here when Greg Biffle just finally drug the flywheel off of his car because he kept bottoming out from going faster and faster. If these tailpipes hit the ground, hit the track, you'll sometimes drag a hole in them. That hole feels like you got some kind of terrible vibration in the race car. It's coming from the exhaust system.
Well, I'm going to tell you a guy that doesn't have anything right now but a fast race car, and that's Greg Biffle in that 16 car. He just puts Elliott Sadler lap down. That leaves 24 cars on the lead lap.
However, Kasey Kahne is gaining 2 to 3 tenths of a second per lap on Biffle. Caution is out. Contact between Denny Hamlin and the 6. Here's Steve.
Martin Truex Jr. says the back end starting to slide around. They made a wedge adjustment on the 1, Krista.
Do you do when your car is perfect? You leave it. No adjustments, just 4 tires for Greg Biffle. Dick.
And Mark Martin started that last run in 7th position. He finished the run in 7th position. Car got a little bit tighter. They're loosening it, Matt.
Kasey Kahne's car running warm. Track bar adjustment already completed. They went the opposite way as the last stop because it didn't seem to help. He's away.
Tony Stewart, good run off pit road. Behind Greg Biffle, picks up a spot. David Reagan and Hamlin had a couple of run-ins about 10 laps ago, and then they came up upon Max Pappas, who was not up to speed. Max will be the 13, and we're going to show you this first in Fox 3D.
Yeah, well, Max Pappas is right here in front of these guys. He gets in trouble. He gets up into the wall, and this slows everybody down. It shows down to 17. There goes the 11 to the bottom, 42. And here comes the 6 with a big run. He timed it just right, and he's going to try to pass all these guys down the front. This is where some give and take. He gets in on the apron, can't keep the car down, slides up into 11 and spins him out. You can't get in there on that apron like that without, you need the whole racetrack because it's going to go up the hill.
Yeah, he was turning the wheel to the left, but the car was going up the hill to the right.
Here is David Reagan's onboard camera.
See how far down on the apron he was, and it's just hard to keep a car. That's why you preach all night long. You can't race in that corner side by side.
10 to 11. Sorry about that.
That was David Reagan. Now this was 10 laps earlier from David Reagan's onboard. A little bump from Hamlin. And they kept racing each other.
Yeah, I didn't see that as being a payback, or I didn't see that as anything other than just the 13 bottled them up, and there wasn't enough room in turn 1 for all the cars.
Now, Mark Martin, the 5 team, had a great pit stop, but they had to come back to pit road because they had a left front lug nut. So that's going to take him from outside the top 5 all the way back to about 22nd on this restart. So he'll have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, you can have really good pit stops if you don't get all the lug nuts tight.
They'll be quick, won't they?
They'll be fast.
One to go at the line. No matter what happens, we'll put a windshield. 10-4, we'll get you that windshield. For 4 tires, fuel, no adjustments, we're going to get a windshield tear off. Everything's good, everything's good. One inside here coming up. Ready. Ready, green, green, green. Good job, guys.
And that's a Cheez-It bite of the race.
Yeah, one thing about it, that windshield tear-off guy was probably in the way of those guys trying to change the tires. Could have complicated matters a tad. He didn't do anything wrong. Don't misunderstand me. But him being there is another body over the wall that's in the way.
Time for another question from Ask.com, official search engine of NASCAR. You can get the answer now and enter the Ask.com NASCAR challenge at the official search engine of NASCAR. Jeff?
Hey guys, the one thing I want to tell you right quick as a jack man, when somebody gets in your way, I always told my students and myself, you've got to see it. You have to as a jack man. You've got to know all those lug nuts are on there before you drop that jack. I don't care who gets in your way.
Yeah, well, that guy being there is right in the jack man's line of sight, and that could keep him from knowing whether he got all those nuts on there or not.
Good point. We're going to go back to green with Greg Biffle, the leader, Tony Stewart second, Casey Kane, Martin Truex, Jamie McMurray. The fast 5. Elliott Sadler got the free pass on that caution for Denny Hamlin. Green flag.
Yeah, that was bad news for Brian Vickers and Jeff Gordon. They had fast enough cars, but our leader just had started putting other cars a lap down, and it put them further back from being the first car 1 lap down.
Well, Paul Menard, man, he almost left from here.
Wow.
I don't know how he saved that thing, and I don't know how anybody kept from running over him, to tell you the truth.
Brian Vickers in the 83 went all the way against the inside wall down the back straightaway.
Thing got loose up off the corner over there, and I thought we had a big one.
That's Menard in bright green or yellow or chartreuse. Your pick.
Well, I think it's all the above.
Paul is 1 lap down. He just got lapped right before that caution came out.
And Larry, like so many times before we've been here recently, that 16 car, this is just his race to lose.
And boy, Ryan Newman on new tires, he's back to being the rocket again. He gained a couple of spots on that restart, Dick.
Yeah, he did, Mike, but they have had trouble adjusting this car all night long. During a longer run, the car will go from loose to tight to loose, depending on where on the racetrack Newman is at the moment, and they just have not been able to get it exactly where they want it. If they do, this thing has got basic speed. They've just got to get the chassis nailed exactly right.
And that's something they'll have to work on all night long, every single pit stop. It's about compromising with the 2 ends of this racetrack being different and the racetrack cooling down and changing.
Yeah, you got all these cars that got speed. It's who can get it hooked up to the racetrack. That's what makes the difference.
Well, Greg Biffle, he just ran again his fastest lap of this race.
That's a fast one too, 28.64.
Oh, Kyle Busch in there 3 wide. Turn 3, that all nicely sorted out. Tense moment for Jeff Burton up on the high side there for a moment. Top of your screen, Brad Keselowski. His last Cup start was that Talladega win. There's Brad on the number 25. And he's having a strong race, Steve. He's in 12th place.
He sure is, Mike. He told crew chief Lance McGrew right after the caution flew, I'm a little bit tight in 1 and 2. I've just been racing the racetrack. And by the way, I need a sandwich. I'm hungry.
You don't have time to eat a sandwich here, even under caution. But you mentioned the win at Talladega. Because of winning that race, he will be in that all-star race next Saturday night, back in the 09 car. And again, that race will air and be broadcast on Speed.
But you know, he is pulling double duty, so maybe he just didn't get his, you know, he probably didn't get to eat a lot last night because he was working. Here he is working again tonight. He's doing the, you know, double duty thing, night shift.
You can have a sandwich in about 197 laps from now.
Yeah, get you a ham and cheese sandwich, right, honey?
Well, this is a wad of cars right here.
Yeah.
We're riding with Jimmy Johnson.
I'll tell you.
In and out.
He has been, that's happened to him twice now off of turn 4 down there.
And trying to be cautious there, he ended up giving up a spot to Juan Pablo Montoya, who drove around the outside of Jimmy in the 42.
I think Jimmy knows it. Probably ought not press my luck tonight, because I don't think I got any.
Darrell, it seems like this is the kind of track where if you're trying to be careful, that can get you in trouble in traffic.
There is nowhere to hide here. Let me tell you. You can't get out of people's way, because if you're not going very fast, you'll get run over from behind.
Another nice resurgence of a team that needed a big pickup after last week. Kevin Harvick in the number 29. Krista, he's in 11th.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Things are running pretty smoothly. Kevin's saying he doesn't need much. He's pretty good. But on that last run, his car was starting to get a little bit tighter. I joked with his new old crew chief, Gil Martin, back with Kevin Harvick. I said, hey, Clint Boyer was joking that you guys don't look as tough when you're not in black. He said, Clint wears a giant hamburger helper hand on his back. What is he talking about?
Harvick trying to take the Shell Pennzoil car of Richard Childress into the top 10. To do that, he's got to get past 18-year-old rookie Joey Logano.
It's like when Gil Martin made that call on that early pit stop to do fuel only and really made up a lot of track position. It put them in a great position, and they've been staying in the top 10, the top 15 ever since then. We also need to mention his teammate Casey Mears back out on the racetrack after being involved in that early caution, 90 laps down.
Greg Biffle is the fastest car on the racetrack, but a long way to go here in Darlington, South Carolina. 182 laps complete. Greg Biffle now leading Casey Kane, the new second-place car. Tony Stewart third, riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is in 21st position. One of 24 cars that are still on the lead lap. Maybe you could be our next NASCAR know-it-all. Log on to foxsports.com, keywords know-it-all, and answer our questions about the Coca-Cola 600 race that comes up in 2 weeks on Fox. And the winner will be announced during our coverage at Dover on May 31st. Foxsports.com, keywords know-it-all. Crossed flags from the starter going to be displayed to Greg Biffle. The Biff has now led 60 laps, more than anyone else tonight, and we are halfway.
And let me tell you, from a physical standpoint of view and a mental standpoint of view, this is like running already a 500-mile race, because you have to stay so focused and you have to work so hard riding around this little narrow racetrack that it wears you out. Plus the changing conditions. Track's got more grip, speeds pick up.
Let's get an update on the second and third place cars, Casey Kane and Tony Stewart. Trouble turn 2. A car goes around and spins down the bottom of the apron. It is David Reagan. And that'll be caution number 7.
Leaders coming fired up. Come on around.
He's trying to get going.
I think he must have a tire down there.
So he'll get it going, trying to stay, but a lot of damage on that car.
Drove in the back of it.
It's like he got it, but I think he got bottled up behind the 48 car.
Larry, it's a timing thing. He just timed it wrong. He had to get on the brakes right here to keep running into the 48, which he still bumped him. And here comes Montoya. Montoya was going to try to slip by underneath him. Couldn't do it.
A lot of damage to the back of David Reagan's car. This is from Jimmy Johnson.
See, he gets in there, bumps Jimmy a couple of times, and Montoya.
And pit road's open, Steve.
Martin Truex Jr. really frustrated with traffic, Mike. He says the car is good, but he's having a hard time getting around slower cars. Might see a little strategy here for the one car. Just 2 tires. Krista.
Greg Biffle wanted wedge, but they changed their mind. Why? Because it's just going to be a 2-tire stop. No adjustments, just 2 tires for Greg Biffle. Matt.
Tony Stewart hit pit road in the 3rd position. Stewart said the car just started to come in as the caution came out, but he lost way too much time at the beginning of the run. Significant track bar adjustment for the 14. Meanwhile, the 9 of Casey Kane, his car extremely tight. He felt like they needed to take a big swing at it, air pressure wise, to try to get this car dialed in.
Those 2 tires got Martin Truex jumps up 2 spots. And the free pass will go to Brian Vickers. He'll finally get himself back on the lead lap. A lot of gamblers that time took just 2 tires on the pit stop.
Yeah, we only had 19 laps on our tires, and just to name some, Greg Biffle, Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson, Ruderman, Mark Martin, Elliott Sadler, Kyle Busch all took 2 tires. Ryan Newman will restart in 14th in the 39 car, one of the cars that took 4 tires.
Matt Kenseth gained 10 spots during that caution period with his stop. So our pole sitter restarts in 11th.
Just remember what I told you. These guys, some of these guys don't get in a real big hurry until they get a little past halfway. So it doesn't surprise me that Kenseth all of a sudden surfaces.
25 cars on the lead lap. Another 7 1 lap down. And only 6 cars in the garage.
We do have one correction. We get the note that Jimmy Johnson, the 48 team, Chad Canals, right now they're back in 19th position. They did go with 4 tires on that stop.
I think that was a safe thing to do, Larry. And you know, like I said, those guys they've been trying to work themselves out of a hole all night.
Teammates not quite bump drafting. Harvick and Burton running right around 16th place. Did you watch from Carl Edwards? Krista?
Well, Jeff Burton's car had really been tight all night long, taking 4 tires on that last stop, making a small track bar adjustment. Still tight, the 31 needing to turn just a little bit better.
Yeah, this car, everywhere we've been where we started in the daylight and went to the nighttime, it always seemed to get looser. But I just think this racetrack here, no matter what, old car, new car, it just seems to get tighter as it cools down.
Yeah, you try to carry so much. You got to think about this. Straightaways are 1,230 feet long, so you're making a lot of speed through these corners, and that's what makes these cars get tight, because you're running a big turn here. Hard to get the grip in the front.
Jimmy!
My. Great save.
That's not lows, that's loose.
Well, he saved the 48 car, and he saved the 99 car there too, because he was headed to that 99 car of Carl Edwards.
Well, let's mention that David Reagan stayed on the lead lap, and so did Juan Paulo Montoya after that incident. Want to see that one again?
I do.
I think this will be from a little different angle too.
I don't know if he can do it again or not. Let's see if he can.
This is riding with it, 48 car. You know, Darrell, I'm watching that car behind him, Brian Vickers in the 83 car, who is now back on the lead lap. And I think we were talking during break. You had a great analogy of what his strategy should be with 172 laps to go.
Yeah, he got himself 2 laps back. Now you're all jacked up. You're all exuberant. Don't go out there and run over somebody now.
Because you got a fast race car.
You know you're fast. Work the traffic. Get yourself back up there.
Boy, Mark Martin was alongside Joey Logano, and they were battling for position for 6th place. But the car got loose on Mark, and he slipped back behind not only Logano, but Jeff Gordon.
It's just so hard to get under people. Oh, got a trouble down here in the corner.
And it's
Reagan.
Reagan.
It's a Reagan car. It was junk anyway. He was having a hard time keeping it
going down.
Caution is out.
And man, I'm surprised he
might as well
can drive that one back.
I've been watching him, Mike, and he was just having trouble keeping control of the car. Car got hurt pretty bad in that instant
right
race.
rear tire was down.
I think you watch what we're talking about here.
This was 1 lap ago. And there's the 6.
Yeah. Car was just a mess from that spin earlier.
And that could have cut down the tire that prompted that.
Boy, he got into the side of poor Marcos Ambrose in the 47. Max Pappas just barely slides by in that 13.
Well, neither of those cars, you'd know if David Reagan hit him or not from looking at them, because they're both already tore up.
And you can see they just went ahead and took the 6 to the garage area. I'm sure with 170 laps to go, they'll try to make repairs possibly and get it back out there, but there'll be a lot of work to do.
Yeah, a lot of fluid running out from under the car, like it Maybe busted a radiator.
Good news for David Stremme. He will get the free pass on this, the 8th caution. Let's go to Chris Myers for an AT&T race break.
Thanks, Mike. Just a quick recap. Earlier, Jeff Gordon, Martin Truex Jr. both led at some point in the race, but here in a battle for 3rd and 4th.
Oh, watch these two guys go at it. The crossover move right there put on Martin Truex Jr. by Jeff Gordon. Martin may have got by him going in that corner, but this is what happens. Jeff Gordon drives right back by him, and they went at it for a couple laps like that.
Michael Waltrip blows the bottom out of the engine, creating an oil fire. He was okay, but spectacular pictures under the lights. Kyle Busch up against the wall, has not led tonight, but is threatening as high as 4th currently. David Reagan had just brought out the 8th caution here, getting into Denny Hamlin, running in the top 15, creating some problems as a caution comes out. So far, we've had 8 cautions in the race. 14 lead changes, 9 different leaders.
Yeah, we're taking a look right now. You see the 17-car pole sitter, Matt Kenseth's coming down pit road, and his car's not really been handling that well as of late, so I'm sure they got some work to do on it. You can see the famed Darlington stripe there. There's Jimmy Johnson right there again. He fought his way back up into the top 10, led this race at one time, but still, they haven't quite got the handle on the car, Chris.
Yeah, Jimmy back-to-back bad finishes, 30th at Talladega, 36th at Richmond.
See, they're working on the 17 car, trying to get some kind of adjustment made to it. It looks like they're working on the track bar, trying to get it dropped down to maybe give his car a little bit more forward bite, Chris, because he's definitely not got a grip on this racetrack right now.
Matt Kenseth leading the first 16 laps from the pole, but hasn't threatened since. But his teammate, Greg Biffle, who's won 2 of the last 4 here, out in front.
Well, everybody told me when I went through the garage here today, watch the Roush Fenway cars. We think they're going to be somebody you're going to have to deal with. Now we got David Reagan. He's out of the race as far as that's concerned. You've seen Matt Kenseth. He said Matt was good on short runs, but watch the 16. He may be the class of the field, and Carl Edwards is starting to get a little bit better. But so far, this guy is not disappointed. He has definitely been the class of the field.
And on the eve of Mother's Day, his mom, Sally, rooting for Greg. And remember, Greg talked about a burnout in high school in front of the gymnasium. Smoke got into the arena there, and he was punished, suspended for 3 days for that moment. But his mom, an understanding parent, had to learn discipline, but his passion for racing, and his mom might be able to see Biff get into a victory lane for the first time this year.
3 days for doing a burnout? We're trying to get our buddy DW just to do one next week at the All-Star race just for fun.
Yeah, well, he got smoke at the gymnasium. There was a basketball game going on. That's the problem.
Oh, okay. Couldn't see to shoot free throws, huh?
It certainly affects things. All right, so Biffle, Truex Jr., Jamie McMurray, Kyle Busch, Rudeman as it stands for the moment. And from your AT&T phone, text the car number for the pit crew you think will be the fastest and most valuable at 2258, and the Pit Crew of the Year award delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. Jeff will stay on top of that. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Well, the good news for David Stremme was that he got the free pass. The bad news was that he came around, in NASCAR's view, going too fast, too close to the safety crew working out on the track to clean it up, and they're going to dock him a lap.
That's unfortunate. You are supposed to be the spotter. Normally tells you where those cleanup guys are, and you are supposed to respect them.
Let's have a look at tonight's Ford Drive One moment. September 1st, 1985, Bill Elliott earns the nickname $1 Million Bill. He wins the Winston Million after winning the Daytona 500 and victory at Talladega. He won the pole. Dale Earnhardt led the most laps, but lost an engine. Cale Yarborough was leading, lost the power steering. Bill Elliott took the lead and won the $1 million, the biggest single-day payday in NASCAR history to that point. And if you want to win a Ford Fusion, log on to WeRaceYouWin.com to see how. Now, next Wednesday, Bill Elliott's going back to Talladega in Brett Hayek's Ford Mustang FR 500C race car, and he's going to try to run faster than he did when he ran his record qualifying lap at Talladega years ago. He's going to do that on Wednesday.
Yeah, at 212 miles an hour, he's going to have to get up on the wheel.
Brett says that Mustang will go about 225.
In a straight line or around that track?
We don't yet know.
Will it turn? That's the question.
We'll know on Wednesday.
Will it go round in circles? That's what I want to know.
That's it. All right, we're 200 laps in, 167 to go, and Greg Biffle remains out front of Martin Truex. Jamie McMurray, the third place car. Kyle Busch has fought his way up into the top 5, and David Rudeman in 5th.
A lot of names in that top 10 that we're not used to seeing in the top 10. Great runs for a lot of guys up there. And you see Joey Logano, the rookie, the 20 car up there in 6th position with 166 laps to go on this restart.
We've been saying this a lot.
Yes.
We've been saying this. Think about Talladega. I mean, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski in 8th, Clint Boyer in 9th, Elliott Sadler in 10th. And for a lot of those drivers, it's their first time in the top 5 or top 10 tonight. Marcus Ambrose goes to the garage as we are back under green.
I'll tell you who shot out of a cannon on the restart, and no big surprise, that yellow car going down to the bottom of the racetrack hit it into turn 3. Kyle Busch. He's the king of restarts, man.
It's almost like a rerun of last week. Not that good at the beginning of the race, but by the time we got to the end of that Richmond race, he was up there leading.
Seems like they just keep improving that car as we go along.
Well, Krista, there's nobody who loves winning more than Kyle Busch, and probably nobody who hates losing more than Kyle Busch.
That is so true, Mike, and that is exactly what I talked to crew chief Steve Addington about. He said Richmond was a huge lesson for his driver because it showed him that the car doesn't have to be great at the start of the race. There's adjustability built into it, and he said finding that out last week in Richmond, knowing that the car can be better at the end, and that's what they need, is a huge lesson, a huge learning lesson for Kyle.
Thanks, Krista. Now, Casey Kane has led part of this race. He's trying to get back up toward the front from 12th place. There he's holding off Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, and Jeff Burton. But watch Kane, the red car, into turn 1 a lap or so ago.
It came from checking up. You know, he had to jump on the brake to keep from getting in the back of David Stremme in the 12th.
That's a great save. That's a sprint car driver save there. Yeah, you see what happened there. He bumps to 12.
You're all right. Got 31 at your corner.
Matt?
Mike, just like taking the high side at Eldora in tiny Rossburg, Ohio, for Casey Kane, combo platter of issues tonight. He knocked the grill in. The car was running hot. He's complained about it being loose, then about it being tight. As he's losing spots, he may have a tire going down on the 9. He's going to hit pit road.
Going down, that's fine. Thank you for the code. You're good.
So Kane will fall off the lead lap with this green flag pit stop. Overheating, he seems.
He had his hands full trying to get that thing on pit road. He just barely made the commitment cone. You can see the nose all busted up. That probably is the reason it's getting hot, obviously.
This is one of the toughest pit roads to get onto under green, and he almost didn't get inside that commitment cone.
Doesn't turn either, like it's really, really tight. All right, put 4 tires on it here. Put 4 tires on it.
Boy, have we got it. Have we got a gaggle? This is the gaggle.
Oh, Boyer holds him off. Keselowski in the middle, Menard on the high side, and Elliott Sadler could just look and shake his head in the 19.
That's just a game of chicken. Going down into turn 1 with people on the inside, outside, you're just playing chicken, baby.
Dick Berggren. Now Boyer's running 8th.
Boyer started in the 17th position, Mike, and his voice was up about 4 octaves in the early laps of this race. The car was so loose, he almost sounded it frightened. But the crew has worked on it all night, and they now have Clint Boyer's car to the point that, although it's not the fastest car in the field, over a long run, it doesn't drop off like other people. So they are looking for long runs with car number 33 in the hopes it's going to pay off in their direction.
Well, Boyer right now by 8 positions is the best of Richard Childress's fleet.
Well, that's kind of been the norm for that operation this year. This 33 car is pretty well carried the banner. They've had a couple of bad weeks here, but maybe they can recover and get back up there tonight.
Greg Biffle enjoys a 1.5 second lead over Martin Truex Jr. Off turn 4, the Miller Lite car of Kurt Busch just had a wild, lurid slide and brings out the caution for the 9th time tonight.
We were about as close as you could be to having the big one at Darlington as you could. I'm telling you, there were cars splitting him left and right.
And as you can see, nobody hit him. I don't know how, but nobody hit him.
Yep.
Watch for the Blue Deuce coming into picture and getting a little bit into the wall right there.
Yeah, a little bit too high, and just loses it off turn 4 there. And man, all that smoke. Now where do you go? Can you see anything? No.
Watch Jimmy Johnson just turn it back. Allmendinger.
Nice
Harvick.
job.
I don't know how his teammate Sam Hornish missed it.
When he put up that big cloud of smoke, I mean, look at this. Where'd he go? Where is he?
He's in the middle of the track. Good job.
Larry, you talked at the top of the day about how the crew chief's got to be a good salesman. Here's what Chad Knaus told Jimmy earlier when Jimmy was mired in traffic.
Gonna be fine, man. Just remember, it wasn't 100 laps ago. We were running second, third up there with those guys. Just once we get you back up there, man, everything's gonna be fine.
I totally agree. I just don't know how to get there. It's a problem.
Pass them. That's what we're gonna do.
And I think Chad Knaus was the one I was mentioning that was going to have to be the best salesman, Steve Burns.
Larry, 2 tires for Martin Truex Jr. Air in the right rear tire. Krista.
Would they take 2 or 4? Greg Irwin says they are too good to gamble. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for Greg Biffle in the 16. Dick.
Mark Martin and his team have recovered from a muffed pit stop in which lug nuts were dropped. He is back in contention to win this race. No changes on the car, Matt.
Tony Stewart telling Darian Grubb the car much better down in turns 1 and 2, but still a tick on the tight side. Right side tires only.
Something badly amiss on Jimmy Johnson's pit stop.
Yeah.
He was spinning around down there is what he was doing.
He was trying to pull in straight instead of pull into his pit box. He just spins it around right here. He may have gotten hit.
Well, Brad Keselowski, I believe he did by Kevin Harvick. He was trying to turn in.
I knew when I saw the car turn, it almost had to get hit.
Well, and Harvick had been hit by Jeff Burton, it looked like.
He's just now leaving his pits.
Watch it, watch it. Get in the box, get in the box. Just come forward. Okay, easy. Come on forward, come on forward. Just take your time. We're going to end up going out last. Come on forward, support. Watch out behind you.
Wow.
Look out behind you. Look out in front of you. Look out beside you.
Just stop.
Just stop.
Tough night at the office for Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Get the inside track from Penske Racing and race analysis, plus highlights and high-speed action, all on VCast from Verizon Wireless, America's largest, most reliable wireless network.
Now, I think Matt Kenseth, our pole sitter, has made 2 stops under this caution flag. Just saw him go down pit road once again. And they're going to change left side tires for Kenseth. So a lot of work during this caution for Kurt Busch's spin in turn number 4.
I think they worked on the car quite a lot on that previous pit stop, lowered the track bar on the left side, and I think they're just coming now and maybe finishing up some of that work that they needed to do.
Good news for Jeff Gordon. He'll be back on the lead lap. He gets the free pass. Next 3 races. The All-Star race, the Sprint All-Star race, next Saturday night on Speed. Then we're back at Lowe's Motor Speedway 1 week later, back here on Fox, Sunday night, May 24th for the Coca-Cola 600, NASCAR's longest race. And we'll wrap up the Fox portion of this season Sunday, May 31st on the Monster Mile at Dover, Delaware, with the Autism Speaks 400.
Anxious to get to Dover, Mike. They've got a new pit road. They've redone their whole pit road, and it's supposed to be really nice.
That's the last phase of a big capital improvement program up there. A lot of new amenities for the fans, and all the racers happy. We've now got 43 pit stalls there. Here's a look at our top 12 in the Sprint Cup Series points, brought to you by Terminator Salvation, which opens everywhere Thursday, May 21st.
And that's as they run now. How about the points leader as of now? Tony Stewart in that 14 car.
Yeah, but Jeff Gordon just got back on the lead lap, and still a lot of racing to do.
A lot of different strategies continue to go on here is because we're not having those long green runs. We know the 1 car, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Mannion, they absolutely went with just 2 right side tires. As long as we have these short runs, I think the strategy will be all over the place.
Well, I think also the thing that we're seeing is that 18 car, Kyle Busch, is running second now. Keep an eye on him on this restart.
Now, Greg Biffle, who has led most of this race, will restart 8th, right behind Brian Vickers.
Yeah, Brian Vickers is up there in the top 10 and 7th. Was not that long ago, he was 2 laps down.
And we know, Larry, that he is a fast race car. We saw him stay out in front of the leaders on a number of occasions.
Martin Truex, the leader. Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray, and Joey Logano, the rookie, continues to impress. He's still in the top 10. 149 laps to go. We're back under green.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick, the 29 car, up there in the 6th spot, just like they did earlier to get track position. Gil Martin went with fuel only on that 29 car.
So hard to race side by side around this place and not get into someone. Place it still reminds me of Bristol in a lot of ways. It's just one lane, one groove. You have a lot of chain reaction accidents, a lot like Bristol.
Now let's mention, just about 9 laps before that caution, we saw Casey Kane in the 9 car, a car that led a lot of this race, come to pit road because he had a flat tire, had damage. Right now he is back in the 31st position, 2 laps down.
Big knot of cars. They were 3 wide going into turn 3 as Greg Biffle tried to move up on the 2 Childress cars.
Well, Burt Boyer, the 33, got sideways and just popped the wall hard off turn 4.
And I think all that started off at turn 2 with Biffle. He backed everybody up, and now they were just kind of in a wad right there. And they haven't unwadded yet. They may unravel. I don't know. Oh, and that wall back straight away big.
Boyer. And the outside wall.
I think he cut a tire down. He cut a tire down when he hit the wall.
All right, we tore it up pretty good, y'all.
Yeah, you tore it up real good. I don't think you'll be going back out anytime soon. That was hard lick, boys. I believe it was he and possibly.
Well, let's see.
He and someone.
This was just before coming off turn 4.
He's right behind Logano on the outside in that BB&T car.
Hard lick there. Then he comes off a 2 back here, and something happens to the car. Let's see. There he is. There he is. Oh, Allmendinger. Yeah, that's what happened. I thought it was
this becomes almost a 3 cushion shot. Safer barrier inside, concrete outside, back inside.
That was a hard lick, though.
He has climbed out of the car, and Clint Boyer is okay.
I think he's stunned just a tad.
That was 2 hard hits for Clint Boyer. We're under caution in Darlington for the 10th time. Darlington Raceway on a full moon Saturday night. Latest victim, Clint Boyer, who got up in the wall behind A.J. Allmendinger and spun down to the inside and then the outside wall. And Darrell, look, the hits just keep on coming.
Yeah, and so many of these accidents that we see the end of them. That wreck started off at turn 4, and it ended up in turn 2. And we've seen that a couple of times tonight where guys will have that chain reaction down here on one end of the racetrack, and then they wreck on the other end because of the bottleneck effect. So that's what happens when you got really fast cars on a really little racetrack.
Larry, it's been a long night for some of these crew chiefs too.
Well, it has, and because we're just getting these short runs, we're seeing so many different strategies that's putting cars that were fast back in the pack, like Greg Biffle right now, who has just dominated the last 100 or so laps. He's back in 7th, but I don't think we've heard the last of Kyle Busch in that 18 car.
Well, let's get back to it.
All right, let's get ready for the restart. Here we go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will go to the rear because a tire got away from the pit crew, crossed the center line of pit road. They lost control of it, and that's a penalty, sends you to the back of the pack.
Trouble in the pits? Am I hearing that right?
You did.
I don't mean this mean, but if we can ever get to the point of the race where he doesn't have to come to pit road, I think you'll have a good night.
Green flag, and Martin Truex Jr. leads Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray, Tony Stewart, and Elliott Sadler down to turn 1. These new names keep floating up to the top 5. Sadler is the latest one.
And you know, I know Elliott Sadler in that 19. He wants to have a good run so bad here on Mother's Day weekend. His mom, Belle, was diagnosed with breast cancer a few years ago, and now she is in complete remission. And he talked about that a lot this week in interviews that he did in the print and with the television media.
Sadler, big supporter of the Susan G. Komen Foundation. That's our Fox Sports Supports charity this year. He finished 5th in Daytona, but has not had a top 15 finish since.
Other than the 2 restrictor plate racetracks.
Turn 4, guys. Ruderman and somebody.
Up in the wall is David Rudiman.
And it's causing a big bottleneck, just like we've seen before.
No caution.
We stay green.
Bobby Labonte behind him. Everybody scatters.
David, you got to get a caution.
No caution.
Sorry, Larry, I didn't mean to jump on you, but I thought there were going to be a big wreck right there.
I think it was about to get big here at the end of the
and look, here's why. You got 3 cars. You go down in this corner 3 wide. The 31 touched the 00 just enough to shoot him up the hill.
And I'm not so sure the 96 car maybe didn't get into the back of Rudiman just ever so slightly.
And the 2 got Jeff Gordon.
Just like bumper cars. I mean, once they start slowing down in front of you, you got nowhere to go.
You saw the left front fender of Bobby Labonte just barely catch that quarter pounder.
That's a shame, too. David was having a great run tonight. Been in the top 5, 10 all night long.
Boy, he needs a caution bad right now. We're seeing things bottoming out. He's got his hands full right now.
My brother's going to be glad to get out of Darlington, I can tell you.
Rudiman is 22nd, Dale Jr. 23rd. They will change spots. They're the last 2 cars on the lead lap. Clint Boyer has been released from the care center. He is okay after that crash.
My brother is not David Rudiman, by the way. My brother's Michael Waltrip, and he'll be glad to get out of here because his other car, the 47, has been in a couple of wrecks. Here's Rudiman wrecked, and of course Michael went up in flames. So bad night for MWR.
Back up front, Martin Truex, 0.7 of a second ahead of Kyle Busch. Things have stabilized there for just a bit. Sam Hornish right behind them is not on the lead lap. He is the first car 1 lap down.
You know, Mike, what I was going to say about Elliott Sadler and the 19 team, you mentioned that they finished 5th in the Daytona 500. We've had 10 races. Other than the 2 restrictor plate races at Daytona and Talladega, they have not even had a top 20 finish at a non-restrictor plate racetrack in 2009. So this has to do a lot for the confidence of that 19 team and Elliott Sadler.
Greg Biffle trying to work his way back to the front. First, he'll have to get past Brian Vickers, the 6th place car.
And I think that's been the 2 fastest cars on the racetrack tonight. Now, the question is, are they going to be fast at the right time, and are they going to be in the front at the right time? Because there's also some guys up here right now, Truex and Kyle Busch and a couple others that are running pretty quick lap times.
Darrell, I've been watching Brian Vickers, and I think he finally realized Greg Biffle's faster than me. Let him go by, and we won't lose a lot of ground. But Brian Vickers at both ends of the racetrack, I know you run high here, but he's been running as high as you can possibly run right against that wall.
Well, 6 laps ago, Larry, Martin Truex ran his fastest lap of the race, which is the fastest lap anybody has turned tonight, 28:39. 133 laps to go here in Darlington with Martin Truex Jr. out front.
127 laps to go. Glad you're with us. NASCAR on Fox from Darlington, and Martin Truex Jr. is your leader. No top 5 finishes for him in the last 24 races, but in that 1 car, he is #1 for the moment. Time for another question from Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. How do Hurricanes get their name? You get the answer now at Ask.com and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge for a chance to win daily prizes at a trip to Talladega. Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. Following Truex Jr., it's Kyle Busch and Jamie McMurray. But Jeff Hammond, let's look in at a couple of guys. Jimmy Johnson moving up to 12th, and he's had a few wrecks in and around him tonight, surviving.
Oh, he's been surviving all night long. Just a little while ago, we saw him getting spun around and trouble on pit road that he had. Everything keeps happening to these guys, but they keep battling back. This is what makes them such a great championship team, starting at the back of the pack, working their way up, finally leading. But the key thing is right now, he's in a dogfight just trying to get into that top 10 to get back close to the front. Remember, his crew chief told him, you got to pass these guys one at a time. We can get back to the lead. We'll be doing fine.
Brad Keselowski right in front of him in a Hendrick engine, and then Mark Martin, of course, a teammate of Jimmy Johnson. But right behind Jimmy is Carl Edwards in the 99 car, who has not won a race
not
this
for
year.
long. He's going by.
Here
Chris.
he goes, and he has not led tonight,
No.
but he's worked his way through the field rather nicely.
Again, he's another one of those guys who ran into the Darlington wall early, put a big stripe on that car. They had to work on it. You know, he and his crew really did a great job of getting the toe set back on it. Now you see him going around Jimmy Johnson, trying to track down Brad Keselowski now for 11.
All right, Jeff Gordon finished, top 3 in the last 5 Darlington races. Tough track for him. He always does well here. We know he has 7 wins. He was a lap down. He's worked his way back in.
Again, he's battling his way back, and this is what you have to do if you want to do good at Darlington. You got to be patient, but you've got to keep fighting. And right now, he finally got that break just a little while ago, back on about our 9th caution or something like that, and got his free pass, got him back on the lead lap. Now he's going around his teammate Jimmie Johnson, trying to make it his way back up toward the front where he started on the outside pole.
And a messy car already has the stripe tonight, and Greg Biffle has led the most laps, currently running fifth.
Chris, I guarantee you there are going to be very few cars. I think maybe Martin Truex Jr. is the only car I've seen out there so far that doesn't have a stripe on it.
The Hollywood Hotel doesn't have a stripe, not yet. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Speed up, you get one.
No, you just get bruised down there.
That's right. Greg Biffle is 5th. He is 5 seconds off the lead, and Kyle Busch is now running equal lap times to Martin Truex. Truex had opened up a 1.5-second lead and then got into some lap traffic, so Kyle is within sight, about 7/10 back of the race leader. Jamie McMurray 3 seconds behind the lead in 3rd. Tony Stewart and then Biffle. One car that's fallen off the lead lap is Jeff Burton. They had an extended pit stop when Burton had a problem with the left front shock absorber, and he fell off the lead lap in the Caterpillar number 31. And that pass of Denny Hamlin was for position 25th.
Yeah, just looking at the scoring monitor on any given lap, our top 5 or 6 cars almost run the same exact speed. Now that lap right there, definitely Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch were the fastest, but top 5 or 6 pretty equal right now.
And it just I don't know if it's this car or just racing in general this year, but if you can get your car in the front, you just drive off and leave everybody. We've seen it all night long. We've seen that with the 16. Now we see it with the Truex car. Just seems like you get out front, you just check out on everybody.
Riding with Hamlin, who's had a tough night. He got caught up in one of the accidents, the one that took Casey Mears behind the wall for a while and involved Allmendinger and Vickers. That was back at lap 32. And he is, I guess he's lucky to be just 1 lap down.
He really is. And just looking at his lap times, he is way off. He's about a second off from what the leaders are running. This has been a great racetrack for Denny. I don't think he's ever finished outside the top 10, but I'm not sure it's going to happen tonight.
We got a little trouble here.
We have debris on the racetrack. So caution is out for the 11th time tonight. And let's go to Dick Berggren, who's going to talk about Elliott Sadler in 7th place here.
Well, he thought he'd run over something, Mike. So this caution has come at an opportune time for Elliott Sadler, who is having his best run this year outside of Daytona and Talladega, where he has had his best success.
The caution flag is a benefit to Sam Hornish. He's the free pass car.
Sam's running good too. I watched him. He stayed right there behind Kyle Busch the whole run there before that caution came out. And it looks to me like we found our debris right there.
A piece of sheet metal.
And with as many cars that has the side scraped up and everything, there's no way to find out where it came from.
I have no idea what car that fell off of.
You know, I think we'll see most everybody come to pit road and get 4 tires. This makes it now where it's a 1-stop race after this stop.
All right, Steve Burns is in the pit of our leader, Martin Truex. Steve?
Mike, his update is the car is starting to get just a little bit snug off the corners, and the front tires starting to feel just a little bit bouncy. So this caution coming at a good time. Last time they changed 2 tires, Mike. This time they're going to change 4 for Martin Truex Jr. Krista.
It had been 2 tires on the last 2 stops for both the 26 of Jamie McMurray and the 18 of Kyle Busch. You see the 26, they are taking 4 this time. Kyle was worried on this run. He said his car was getting a little bit loose. He thought he might have a tire bleeding. You see the crew going around to the left side. 4 tires for Kyle. Matt.
4 tires for owner-driver Tony Stewart on this stop, 2 on the previous one. Stewart said midway through this run, the best the car had been all night, but then it started to get free near the end. Track bar adjustment already completed. Stewart's away.
Greg Zipadelli and his crew got Joey Logano out 7 positions above where he came in.
Just looking at that right there, I think somebody's still rolling the dice and changing just 2 tires.
A lot of gamblers. We will restart with Greg Biffle first and rookie Joey Logano second. Krista.
Up on the pit box, Joey Logano's crew chief Greg Zipadelli. I talked to you this morning. You said this was Joey Logano's best Friday ever at a racetrack. Are you even impressed with what he's doing out here tonight?
I'm impressed with this whole team. Everybody's done a good job. Everybody's stepped up to the plate this weekend. Our pit stops have been great. Joey, you can't say enough about how quick he's learning and what he's picking up out here. Just really proud of everybody. Just want to say hi to my wife and my mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks, Ippy.
Biffle, Logano, Ryan Newman, Matt Kenseth up to 4th. That got him out of mid-pack. Mark Martin 5th. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Truex, Stewart, and Sadler the top 10 for this restart.
Still a little tire strategy going on here. I guess the 2 tires are working pretty good for most everybody that's tried it.
We keep having those short runs. They keep throwing just 2 tires at it.
Green flag. 114 laps to go.
But I think it also is back to what I said a few seconds ago. Get out front, lead from here.
We've seen it with about everybody that's had the lead, including this man, Greg Biffle, who had the lead earlier.
Looks like the 96 may have bounced off the wall over there off the 2.
Bobby Labonte, he's the first car 1 lap down. We actually have 23 cars on the lead lap still, 113 to go this time.
All these cautions is pretty get a lot of cars on the lead lap, and they say now that the 18 may have bounced off the wall. That means he's getting up to speed now, because last year here he just wore the wall out, if you recall.
Well, he hit the wall, and now he's working on Martin Truex Jr. in that 1 car. He'll take that position away from Martin Truex Jr.
How about Kyle Busch's car, Krista?
Yeah, hitting the wall, usually no big deal for Kyle Busch. Steve Addington said he thinks he hit the wall 18 times total last year in that win. But Kyle just coming on the radio extremely angry about his race car.
Ryan Newman, it looked like, had trouble coming off turn 2, and now is backed up to the pack. Nobody passed him at that moment, but Newman had a long slide through turn 2 that time.
Too loose up for 1 and 2, about crashed the damn thing.
Yeah, I'd say he did.
But you did see on that replay that Kyle Busch actually hit the wall off turn 4 with the right rear and the right front.
Yeah, you got to hit it with both ends, Larry, to keep it equalized.
Keep it from spinning out, right?
Uh-oh, Ruderman in trouble in turn 4. I saw a lot of sparks. He was dragging something.
Inside, bunch of them coming.
And the whole field is coming his way.
He can't get down to the inside, and you can see him bleeding off speed as that car drags parts in pieces.
Oh, my
and they all will make it past, I hope.
Stay up.
Well, they're running about 80, 90 miles an hour faster than he's running right now.
I have no idea how all those cars missed him. That was a miracle.
All right, move it to the bottom,
Great drivers and great spotters.
Man,
man, bring it to us here.
That certainly was.
So Ruderman gets down and out of harm's way with what is left of the 0-0. Greg Biffle stepping it out. He has 1 second on rookie Joey Logano, and look at the gap they have on Ryan Newman.
They have taken advantage of that track position.
Yeah, I don't think Newman is real happy with his ride right now.
And Logano just ran his fastest lap of the race, trying to stay up with Biffle.
It might not be a good idea for that young rookie to try to keep up with that older driver that's in front of him, because that guy in front of you in the 16 car, like I said early on, if he doesn't have any trouble, this is his race to lose.
But a year ago, Joey Logano was a Joe Gibbs development driver, and when Tony Stewart left the number 20 team to go to what is now Stewart Haas, the seat became open. They would have liked to have kept Logano in Nationwide Series for 1 more year, but there was a seat to fill, and Joe Gibbs says he's got the talent. Let's see if it's time.
A year ago, he wasn't old enough to run Darlington. He wasn't 18 years old yet.
Well, I've always been kind of the theory, don't waste time. Boy, you got a lot of brake going on there, a lot of rotor, red rotor glowing there. But I've always thought, if you're really good, don't waste a lot of time somewhere else. Just move on up here and get on with it.
Logano right now has a nice cushion, 3 seconds between himself and Ryan Newman in 3rd. There's that gap. And behind Newman, our pole sitter, Matt Kenseth, comes back into the race. Kenseth now up to 4th place, Matt.
Mike, about a year ago, I had a conversation with the King, Richard Petty, and I said, if you looked at Matt Kenseth, what driver does he best remind you of? And he said, the Silver Fox, David Pearson. You can never count him out. When you think he's out, all of a sudden, boom, he's there in your mirror, ready to pounce. You have to be impressed tonight with the patience of the 17 team. They have changed everything in this race car. Even adjusted a shock on one stop. They finally got the car freed up, a little on the free side now, but it is fast in the top 5 now.
Well, it's an apt comparison in several ways, not only Kenseth to Pearson, but Pearson's Wood brothers, the best pit crew of their day, to Kenseth's Killer Bees on pit road.
They buy him a lot of spots every time he comes to pit road normally. His teammate for a number of years at Roush Fenway, Mark Martin, in that 5 car, he is lurking back there just behind him in the 5th spot.
Yeah, I think they're going to bring the 00 in there. He's just,
it's time.
He can't keep, can't get up to minimum speed anymore.
And that was a car that just right before Richmond was in the top 12 in points. So a couple of big hits 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that thing is used up. Parts flying off of it. It's ready to go to the garage, maybe even to the junk shop.
Or Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
Martin Truex trying to get himself back up front. He's in 9th place. Okay, 8th place. Steve?
And Mike, remember, they took 4 tires on this most recent stop. Martin Truex Jr. just told Kevin Manion, I'm a little bit loose right now. And Kevin reminded him, you're on 4 tires. This track's going to come to you the longer you run.
Now, Martin is one of those drivers just out of the top 12 in the Sprint Cup standings. The top 12 make the chase for the Cup beginning after we leave Richmond in the fall. Terminator Salvation shows the drivers who are trying to fight their way back up into the top 12. Truex is one of those in 19th spot. Terminator Salvation opens everywhere Thursday, May 21st.
And you know, Mike, another fight that we have going on here tonight. And when I look at the top 10, it's a fight between guys like Joey Logano, like Martin Truex Jr., Elliott Sadler. You have one more shot to get into the All-Star race, and that's win here tonight. And that's 3 guys that would love to go to Lowe's Motor Speedway, not have to worry about running that preliminary race to transfer.
A lot of great names have won at Darlington. Cale Yarborough 5 times. Buddy Baker, David Pearson, Richard Petty, Ned Jarrett. Who will do it tonight? Working on David Reagan's car in the garage, Kyle Busch went into turn 1 and tried to knock the wall down. No caution. Here's what happened.
He was running in the 11th position.
Oh, cut a tire down.
Yeah, that thing never turned.
Right front looked like. And
we're still under green, Krista.
Out here on pit road, Mike, the 18 crew just made a beeline for the garage. Kyle Busch has no brakes. Brake rotor's the problem. As you see, the 18 is making that fateful turn back into the garage.
So last year's winner and last night's almost winner will not go to victory lane tonight.
That got quite a reaction from the crowd when that 18 made that left turn into the garage area.
Larry, that's not nice.
Trouble on Jamie Mack. Now, he may have just hit the wall in turn 2. He has a flat left rear.
Caution's out.
And now we get a caution. He may have run over some debris.
Brake.
And he has no brakes.
That tire is
Well, it might have front.
Yeah, he ripped the rear brake line off is what's happened with that tire.
And he's
Tire blew out.
shredding pieces as he goes.
You know, it's interesting. The 18 car blows a tire or cuts a tire down going into right front. He cuts one down on the left side here. Maybe there's some debris out there somewhere. There's certainly some right there.
This will be the 12th caution of the evening.
This is the only track we go to where you can ask for debris and you can always find some.
Don't even have to go to ask.com.
No.
It's right here, right in front of us. Another tough break for Jamie. This poor kid has run so well at times during this season. Just doesn't have the good finishes to show for it because of things like this that keep happening. Freak things keep happening to this team.
Yeah, I mean, in Texas, they broke an input on a transmission. That's something you never hear of a team breaking.
Listen, this is a tough race right here. Tough on everybody. 500 miles around this joint. If you can run this whole race and not have any trouble all night long, you are blessed.
Jeff Gordon had some trouble early, but got himself back on the lead lap and now back into the top 10. His employer support for the guard in reserve. Number 24 is 9th as pit road opens up. Let's go to Steve.
And by Kevin Manion and his team trying to keep up with this racetrack. Earlier, Martin Truex Jr. said he was loose. Now he's going to tight. Last time it was 4 tires. This time 2, Krista.
Well, Steve, last time it was 2 tires for the 16. They say this time they've got to take 4. They're coming around the left side. It's 4 tires for the leader, Greg Biffle. Dick.
Ryan Newman took 2 the last time. He's going to take 2 again this time. Major changes in the back of that car, trying to get the car handling as well as he'd like. Matt.
Pole sitter Matt Kenseth to the car. Free down in 3 and 4. But he can keep his speed up while it's in yaw. They're going to lose some spots on this stop just due to the fact that they took 4 tires while many others took 2.
Well, I'm going to tell you who else took 2 was Joey Logano, Greg Zipadelli, so he'll lead this race here.
So far, that hadn't been a bad call. I mean, guys that have taken 2 have still run well.
You know, there aren't many rookies get to lead at Darlington, and fewer still have ever won here. Middletown, Connecticut's Joey Logano right now is class of the field with 90 laps to go in Darlington. 88 laps to go as rookie Joey Logano leads teammates Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon and Martin Truex Jr. the top 5.
And how about the baseball promo? Let's roll silver full. What do you say?
Track full? Let's do it.
Track
oh,
full.
no, that's me. It's not track full, but it's roll silver.
Roll silver.
Next week, David Wright in the first place in the NL East, New York Mets. Head to San Francisco to take on the Giants. The Indians battle the Rays. The Angels take on the Rangers in a showdown between bitter division rivals. It's Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Next week, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Fox. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area.
DW, what have you been telling me for 9 years?
I know, but
stick to what you know.
But I'm just like you are. I'm a sucker. I get baited.
So
you listen to Artie Kipner in your ear.
I get baited every now and then.
So for the next 20 laps, you and I will sit in the truck, and that means that Artie and Barry will come up here with Larry.
No, you don't.
Oh, folks at home,
if
you only knew.
When I said fewer rookies still had ever won at Darlington, yes, that number is 0. However, full moon Saturday night.
You know what Roger Miller said?
Dang me?
No, first time for everything.
Okay. Oh, Jamie Mack's woes continue. Too fast exiting the pits. Tail end of the longest line. He was within a spot of there anyway, so.
Yeah.
Now, no matter what, we still have one more pit stop to make with 87 laps to go, 86 to go when we get to green.
A rookie runs out front as we take the green flag with 86 to go.
This top 10 right now is taking on an interesting look. Whoa!
Yeah. Boy, Ryan Newman had a lot of trouble clearing Jeff Burton.
Well, did you see Burton?
Yeah.
He was 90 degrees.
Now what this battle right in there you see, that's the battle to be the first car 1 lap down to possibly get back on the lead lap. I think we'll take a look at what just happened.
And 90 degrees might be all right in golf, but we ain't playing golf right now. Watch this thing. Yow. Good thing that Tony gave him a little recovery.
Car in the wall, turn 2.
Big time.
And it is Carl Edwards. No caution.
And he had worked his way up into the top 10. In fact, he was running 7.
He's in big trouble now.
You rode with him as he pounded it.
Okay, just hold it up there. Hold it up there. You got more coming.
And he cannot get to pit road.
Not going to get there this time. We stay green.
I mean, he's going to get run over from behind, for heaven's sake.
Edwards could not get to pit road. Now he loops around wrong way.
Coming your way, guys.
I don't think they're going to be real happy about that move.
Nice of my teammates to wreck me.
Well, I don't think he could have made it all the way around, Larry. But for that move, as you said, NASCAR not happy, and they're going to hold Carl 1 lap.
I think at this point, that's the least of Carl's problems.
It's Biffle that gets into Carl Edwards.
Ooh, the Biff. Yeah, Carl's car is a mess.
Yep. Now
he's going to the garage.
Yeah, he couldn't get down to the inside because of all these cars, and he ends up pounding it again in turn 3.
And you know what? He couldn't get to the inside. And I mean, quite honestly, I thought there'd be a caution before this. But nonetheless, he gets past pit road entrance. His car is wrecked. He's just trying to get back to the garage. He didn't want to string parts and pieces all the way around the racetrack. That's a hard lick, guys.
Yeah.
It's right off that safer barrier, too.
Well, let's ride all the way with Carl Edwards. You saw the second hit from the onboard.
Inside 16, inside. Clear right there, clear.
That was off in turn 2. Then he comes down in turn 3 and really nails it again.
So we had a couple of Roush Fenway cars that were contenders tonight. They've taken a hard lick here just recently. Jamie McMurray in the 26. We talked about him now. Carl Edwards in the 99.
Larry, we're 83 laps to go. Remind us of how far we've got to get to make that last pit stop to be able to go all the way.
Well, I think if we get to lap 300, there'll be some teams that can make it from there. The fuel window is about 60 to 64 laps. It's a 367 lap race. No question, lap 300, I think, is the magic number to be able to get to the end.
So that's at least 15 laps from now as Casey Kane comes onto pit road along with Jamie McMurray. Let's get out of Chris Myers.
Mike, with Jeff Hammond, couldn't help but think back with Carl Edwards talking about his teammate Greg Biffle, Talladega last fall. A little bit of history between Greg Biffle and Carl Edwards.
Well, but the biggest difference right there, Chris, is the last time it was Greg who was kind of like looking at Carl because he was a little impatient at Talladega. Started the big one down there and pretty much took them all out of that. But, you know, right now you see the frustration that can be brought out here at Darlington. And again, it's just the closest of the racing. You see right now the 16 car of Greg Biffle running 7th, and you know, again, we've seen it all night long, guys knocking into each other. To me, watching this race and thinking about the last week and where we're going to, All-Star race, a lot of intensity, a lot of passion being shown in recent weeks as far as racing is concerned.
And this is a long, grueling night,
is.
And so for these guys to hang in there, and a rookie leading right now, I mean, as we pointed out, a rookie has never won at Darlington, and obviously the kind of track it is. Let's listen in on radio communication here on the 20 car.
Say, bud, I thought we were taking 4 there, but were we right with 2? You were right. That's why I told you. Same thing as the last time. I thought you were telling the picture that. Okay. Good to know for next time. You just said dig, 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 and I was like, all right.
Now, that's what goes on with a rookie. A lot of times, there's the veteran crew chief right there, Greg Zippatelli, trying to strategize and figure out how he can keep his young man up front. And right now, this is what we've been looking for as far as from Joey Logano all season long. We've been thinking this is what's going to happen. And, you know, so far, it's really looking good here at Darlington as far as this 20 car is concerned.
Best finish so far in a Cup race, 9th at Talladega. Jeff, your picks for the AT&T fastest pit crew, the 16 with Biffle, Martin Truex Jr., and Logano's crew. Don't forget to vote the AT&T fastest and most valuable from your AT&T phone. And the number to vote, 2258.
Yeah, right there, you look at those crews, and they've been making good calls all night long, been fast, been accurate, keeping their drivers in the hunt.
13 cautions within 2 of the record for this track in this race. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. It'll be 80 laps to go in the Southern 500 presented by GoDaddy.com when they come around. And Joey Logano, 16 days shy of his 19th birthday. The youngest driver ever to win a Cup race, Kyle Busch, 20 years, 4 months, and 2 days at California in September '05.
Pretty impressive. Having kind of run here tonight. I take my hat off to him.
Green flag, 80 laps to go. Brian Newman breathing right down the neck of Joey Logano.
One thing that he doesn't seem that he hasn't been able to do is clear these lap cars.
3 wide.
Some of these restarts, but there he gets a big break.
Boy, Ryan Newman, he didn't want to waste any time getting by those lap cars of Bobby Labonte and Jeff Burton. Now, he'll go in front of Jeff Burton, who's 1 lap down.
And Burton dropped to the bottom on Bobby Labonte to move past him, putting himself in the free pass position where Labonte had been.
You know, Larry, the other thing that's being impressed with so much, look at who's running 2nd and 3rd.
Stewart Haas Racing.
Those 2 cars have really, really, really come on in such a short period of time.
I mean, the story's in the top 5. We've talked about Joey Logano, the rookie. The second and third place car, Stuart Haas. Jeff Gordon in fourth, who was on pit road under green with a loose left front tire. And Martin Truex Jr., who has led this lap, has not won a race in almost 2 years, sitting there in fifth right now.
Log jam right here. Now Labonte's a lap down. Trouble front straightaway. Hornish goes for a wild spin.
If he doesn't get hit, he's going to be all right.
Right there, get it going.
No caution.
What?
No.
All right, get it going now.
We stay green. Wow. And Biffle stays side by side with Truex as they fight it out for fifth place.
I'm sure there is a lot of people, mainly a lot of race car drivers, is amazed that we didn't get a caution that time.
That was unbelievable.
Got to see that one again. Hornish on the outside of Mark Martin.
I mean, he just came down. Mark kept trying to go lower and lower and lower, but I mean, he spun half the distance of the front straightaway, spun around 3 or 4 times, and never touched a thing.
Hornish on pit road. Here's Mark Martin's view of it.
48. Speed outside.
Yep.
You're clear. Got the 2 coming. Still green. Still good. Still good.
Well, I'd say he's on pit road for 2 or 3 things. 4 new tires, put the roof flat back down, and a new set of drawers.
Yeah. I reckon it'd be only in Alabama they call them drawers, right? That's what I was thinking.
Hornish has new tires and he's going back out on track.
I doubt seriously in Defiance, Ohio, they call them drawers.
I don't think so either.
Whatever you call them, he didn't have time to change them, all right? Logano half a second ahead of Brian Newman, holding his own and holding the lead.
Don't you love to watch these cars come off of turn 2 over there, though? It's a square turn. You just drive straight at the wall, and then at the last second you turn. Look at that. It goes straight and then just turns.
It's like turn 2A and 2B.
Exactly. Or 2 not to be.
You can tell it's getting late in the race.
I'm not drinking any more Mountain Dew. I'm done.
You know, we saw Greg Zipadelli a bit ago. Joey Logano is only the second Sprint Cup driver Zipadelli has been crew chief for. He was with Tony Stewart from Stewart's rookie year right up to the end of his tenure with Joe Gibbs in November of last fall. So Logano only the second driver Zippy's ever had in Cup. And Tony's best finish here in the number 20, 4th twice in 16 races. And here is Logano in a position to maybe win this thing.
Well, he's got to be.
Turn 4.
Uh-oh, trouble.
It's Biffle.
Oh, no, Biff.
And we will see a caution now.
Get it going if you can.
And Larry, we're 5 laps outside that lap 300 window you talked about.
I think it's close enough that you want to get fuel in that car.
I got a flat.
That is caution number 14 for Greg Biffle, 1 shy of the record.
Let's see what happens here. Oh, man, we've seen that so many times tonight. There must be a real slick spot right there off of turn 4. We've seen a number of cars just lose it off that corner.
We'll see several cars just barely squeak by Kevin Harvick in that 29.
I know back in the old days before they repaved it, every now and then you'd get up there and hit where they hadn't mowed the grass and to spin out.
Give an attaboy to Jeff Burton. He's worked hard after that shock problem to get in position for the free pass, and he's earned one.
And Mike,
loose. I almost wrecked off of 2, and then it just spun out down here.
And Mike, I know as a crew chief, you can't base all of your calls off of trends or patterns, but let's go back to the beginning of the show, the FedEx Understanding the Race. The last caution since we have been running a 500-mile race here in the spring is somewhere around the last caution around average lap 317. We normally don't have late race cautions here as far as the trends or the patterns, but we'll just have to see what happens.
I think as fast as these cars are, Larry, and as tough as, I mean, and the way everybody's racing each other tonight, nobody's cutting anybody any slack tonight.
No. Now, you talked about a bad night for Michael Waltrip Racing. How about Jack Roush and Roush Fenway Racing? A couple of those in the garage, but pit road is open, and Vickers almost got turned by Elliott Sadler. Steve. Krista.
Joey Logano and Greg Zipadelli making a final call. They were going to stay out for track position. Zippy said, come in, we need 2 tires. They're not in their fuel window, but they're going to try to pack it full as much as they can. Right sides only for the 20, young rookie Joey Logano. Dick.
And Newman has run toward the front all night long. This stop, they have decided to take just 2 tires.
Matt. And Jeff Gooch Patterson has just topped off the 14 of Tony Stewart. Close call with a 9 of Casey Kane. Darian Grubb had factored in the fuel mileage, which they were getting great mileage from the middle portion on, but still realized it needed a number of caution laps to make it, so they topped her off.
And oh, by the way, back in the pit road.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Somebody's even getting service backwards.
Wouldn't it a little while when isn't there a full moon tonight?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think there's something weird going on because of wrecking on pit road or wrecking on the racetrack.
Have you ever been to a Saturday night race with a full moon that they didn't just wreck all over the place?
I went to a race and to a fight, and a race broke out at a full moon.
Look at them stack up here because we've got all the lead lap cars. You
There
can
you
see
go.
Allmendinger in the 44.
Yeah, but he's in the pit box.
He's in his pit box.
So I guess that's okay. Oh gosh, he went around off the front bumper of Kurt Busch. Now Martin Truex did not pit, neither did Matt Kenseth. They must think there's another caution coming.
I'd be in favor of that.
And we do know they will have to make another pit stop. But the pattern I saw on pit road is everybody that pitted tried to pack those fuel tanks full of fuel to maybe make it to the end, but most of them went with just 2 right side tires trying to keep that track position.
So Tony Stewart is the first car that pitted. He's up to 3rd. Kevin Harvick got fuel only on that stop, and he will restart 4th, and Jeff Gordon 5th.
And Martin Truex Jr., Matt Kenseth, the one in the 17 car, they have about 50 laps of fuel in their tanks. They still got a long way to go before they'd have to make a green flag stop.
Well, that one car has proven that he can lead this race. He's led it a number of times tonight. 17, this is as close to the front he's been since the race started from the pole. These other guys, none of these other guys back here have been able to lead the race or show they have the potential to lead the race.
Next Saturday night, the Sprint Cup All-Star Race on Speed, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Speed. LowesMotorspeedway.com is where you get your tickets.
I remember the first time we raced there under the lights. It was a full
wow.
moon in 1992, and it was big, that all-star race.
And you got to go to Victory Lane and then to the Care Center to see your driver.
Driver did not go. The car did not go. And we spent the night at the hospital with Davey Allison.
I think you may have run into Bruton Smith over there, too. He said his hair on fire that night.
That's right. Hey, David Reagan's back in the race with most of the UPS Ford.
Now, Mike, one thing that I do see as I look at our scoring monitor is we saw Clint Boyer in that wreck on the back straightaway. According to the scoring monitor, they are out of the race, so he will not tie Herman Bean for the most consecutive DNFs at 84. His streak, it looks like, will end at 83 here tonight.
You know what? Every record is a record for a reason. That's why records, when you break them, it's so important and so big. 84, you know, there must have probably been some other people that got close, but that's the record.
Mother's Day tomorrow. One proud mom right this moment is Joey Logano's.
I'm just so proud of him, the way he handles himself with the media and the fans and the children that come up to him and the elderly, and just very proud of him, the way he takes care of himself that way.
Well, Mom hasn't taught me much in technique or driving or anything like that, but as far as off the track and the way to treat people, I think that's probably the biggest thing she's helped me out with. And like I said earlier, the moral support and having the people there, that's big.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Joey Logano will restart 8th.
Yep.
Truex, Kenseth, Stewart, Harvick, Gordon, the top 5. One more caution, we tie the record. 67 laps to go, and they take the green. Truex in front.
Still got a lot of cars on the racetrack.
But look at Truex. Every time he's led this race on a restart, he's been able to scoot away and build a pretty good cushion.
He gets a great restart with that one car.
I'm just surprised at all the trouble that Kenseth's had tonight, all the work they've done on that car, and here he is late in the race doing what he does best.
But he's got his hands full of Tony Stewart in that 14 car. Tony would just drive by him to take the second spot away.
And there's a guy, you know, we called earlier on the pre-race show that would really like to win tonight in his own car.
Yeah, I'm sure he's been happy with these top fives, but he's probably a little bit tired of finishing second. He's finished second 2 out of the last 3 races at Phoenix and at Richmond last week.
And I don't think it hurts anything. Probably motivates him a little bit to see how that 20 car is running tonight either.
Guarantee the car he drove for 10 years, 2 championships. There's Joey battling Mark Martin. That's a battle for 6th position.
Now, Joey, this is when he has to use a little patience and know that he's got to work through this slower traffic, stay out of trouble, and bring this good finish home. Don't want to blow it on the end at the end here.
David Reagan's taking the UPS Ford back to the garage with 65 to go.
Kind of funny, the top 5 right now. Truex, you got Stewart, the veteran, you got Kenseth, you got Harvick, and you got Gordon, you got Martin. Those names are names that you would think at the end of the night they would be at the top of the list.
Especially at Darlington.
At Darlington, yeah.
But once again, the least experienced of that group is leading them. That's Martin Truex.
But you know, we're riding with Jimmy Johnson right now, and what a night, what a weekend he's had in this 48 car. Crashed qualifying, went to a backup car. They got track position early. They had to make a green flag pit stop. They got a lap down and was backwards on pit road at one point.
Logano passes Mark Martin and moves up to 6th. Steve, how about our leader?
Mike, Larry Mack speculating on why Kevin Manion decided to keep Martin Truex Jr. out on the racetrack. Larry, you're right. Kevin does think there's going to be another caution. He also did not want Martin to be in heavy traffic on pit road. And the other thing is that one car just runs so much better when it's out in front.
But you know what? I think there's going to be another caution too. Yep. But what if there isn't?
Well, if there isn't, he's going to have to stop with about 20 laps to go.
Exactly. That puts you in a box.
Maybe 15.
That puts you in a box, see?
Just watching these 2 right here, Brian Vickers in that 83 and Jimmy Johnson. That's a battle for 8th position. They were all over each other last time through turn 2.
These old cars are like magnets tonight. They just stick together.
Nice. Go get that 5.
You know, just a couple of laps ago, we watched Joey Logano drive by Mark Martin in that 5 car. You know, we talked about the piece in the pre-race show about Mark Martin basically announcing his retirement. Mark Martin has been probably one of the biggest Joey Logano fans for a number of years.
Yeah.
In fact, he said Joey Logano is who you need to put in the 6 car. That was 4 years ago when the kid was only about 15 years old. Of course, he was not eligible by the NASCAR rules.
That's right. He discovered Joey. Wasn't Joey racing against Mark's son, Matt?
Well, Joey was actually a little bit ahead of Matt, but came out of the same division.
All I remember is Mark Martin saying time and time again, if you want to know who the next big star in NASCAR is going to be, it's this guy.
Remember Joey Logano.
Remember that name.
And, you know, we just saw the piece with Joey and his mom, Deb. Deb and Tom Logano, you won't meet nicer people. They left New England and moved to the South for 2 reasons: to get Joey closer to racing and to get their daughter Danielle closer to ice skating.
Now, just ahead of Logano is another driver who's had a huge turnaround tonight, Kevin Harvick, in the top 5 in that Shell Pennzoil car for Richard Childress.
You got to call timeout here. Now, I can understand the racing part, but you got to explain that ice skating part.
Yeah.
You lost me.
You don't leave Connecticut for the Carolinas to go ice skating, will you?
Well, I'm talking about professional ice skating, not ice skating in the streets.
Here's a little audio from Joey Logano's team just prior to that last restart.
Do I need to save under green? I'll let you know if we come down to that. You race your guts out here. Do what you got to do. When we get close to the end, I'll let you know what we need to do.
2 things I've heard tonight. First of all, a little while ago, Joey said, you know, why did we take 2? Zippy didn't like that. I mean, I could tell by the tone of his voice, because that's what I wanted to, you know, it's almost like that's what I wanted to do. Just now, do I have to put under green? We'll let you know. I always think about, you drive the car, we'll run the pits. Focus on your job and we'll do ours.
So that's salesmanship, but kind of in a different way.
Yeah, I think it's kind of saying who's in control of what.
And you know what? If I'm Greg Zipadelli, I think I want to see a caution. I'm not sure I want my man to have to make a green flag pit stop at Darlington. She's a little tough.
Sam Hornish is limping onto pit road because he got loose at turn 2 and smacked the wall twice hard, as you can see from the extent of the damage. Now Brad Keselowski right behind him, but no contact.
No, he just gets loose right there, pounds it, and Brad gets into him a tad, but he'd already hit the wall some before. Sam has had a very, very eventful evening.
He is going to the garage after that and that. A great qualifying run and a tough end of the night for Sam Hornish. Started 4th, and he will finish around 34th.
There's a couple of cars right behind that one car that I tell you are going to, they got a distance to make up, but they're a little bit quicker right now. The 14 and the 24, about a 1/10 and a half quicker than the leader right now.
Well, I think the biggest difference is like Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Joey Logano. They have about 20 lap fresher tires, at least on the right side.
Caution for debris. And that will tie the record for caution flags in a Darlington Cup race. That was only a 400-mile race in the spring of 1995 when they had 15 cautions. And of the top 5 drivers right now, Truex, Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Kenseth, and Logano, this man is the only one of that top 5 who's ever won here.
Now we know for a fact that Martin Truex Jr. and Matt Kenseth, the 17 car and the 1 car, they have to come to pit road this time. Everybody can make it to the end. What's going to be interesting is it's only been about 20 laps since all those other cars made a pit stop. This caution should buy them enough laps to be able to make it on fuel. Are they going to opt to stay out for track position? The only thing I don't like, Darrell, is the 20 lap older tires on the 17 and the 1 that time seemed like they were backing up a little bit.
Yeah, and then you know, if you're going to come, you don't want to you don't want to sit there and pack it full of fuel. You probably take 2 tires. I don't know, it's a lot of track position to give up. This is when it's really, really difficult to decide what to do.
It is, Darrell, because with Bobby Labonte, who gets the free pass, we will have 24 cars on the lead lap when we restart.
I think if I'm up at the front, I got to stay out, and here they all come, so made that easy enough.
Pit road is open. Here's Steve.
Caution came out, Mike, and Martin Truex Sr. said, man, this thing will run out front. Kevin Mannion said, we have got to stop. We can't make it all the way. Looks like just 2 tires for Martin Truex Jr. Krista.
Greg Zipadelli told Joey half will stay out, half will come. We have to come. We're 6 laps short. We don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. Our race car is too good. A little bit of wedge in the 20. They're deciding between 2 and 4. It's going to be 2 for the 20, Matt.
Tony Stewart says his car is too free, just like his corporate teammate Jeff Gordon. Both going at this juncture right side tires and air pressure change to free it up. The same for Matt Kenseth. He's too tight.
7 drivers on the lead lap did not pit. Now there's the race off pit road, but beginning with Mark Martin, who stayed out, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, Elliott Sadler, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they did not stop.
And I'm really not surprised. I'm not surprised at all, because I just think they felt like they had enough fuel to make it to the end. And we've seen all night long cars out front how they can just yard everybody, and we're only going to have a little over 40 laps to go when this thing restarts.
Well, guys, I don't think Mark's led tonight. I don't think Johnson's led tonight. Newman's led tonight. He's proven he can pull them around here. But here's Keselowski 4th, Hamlin 5th. Hamlin's had a really eventful night. So, yes, you know, those first 5, out of those first 5, looked like the 39 had the best car.
46 laps to go. Let's get a quick recap from Chris and Jeff.
And the points shaken up and/or will be Jeff Gordon in position behind Tony Stewart. But just looking in the top 8, some of the storylines: Denny Hamlin, who came into the evening 4th in points, having some problems spinning here in Darlington. Kurt Busch, who came in 2nd in points behind Jeff Gordon, also some problems from earlier. And then Clint Boyer, as mentioned, his streak of 83 races consecutively running at the end, coming to an end. He was okay after this tough hit. 8th in points coming in. And Kyle Busch, who hit the wall and headed into the garage, 5th in points. It will shake things up. And the top 12 currently, as we stand here with just 45 laps remaining, Jeff Gordon would be your leader over Tony Stewart, and those two are near the top of this race.
Yeah, the top of this race right now. And this race is not over with yet, because that could easily change, as well as Kurt Busch and Denny Hamlin are still in it, and Jimmy Johnson. They decided to stay out, so they find themselves in second right now as far as this race is going on, behind current leader Mark Martin.
And Martin Truex Jr., the gamble, it appeared, they got the caution, has played in their favor. That strategy, what else catches your eye here?
Well, the fact you got guys who stayed out in front of them. Definitely Martin Truex Jr. has a very fast race car, but we find ourselves with a veteran up front in that 5 car from Hendrick Motorsports, and that's Mark Martin. So it's going to be interesting to see with this 40 laps to go, whether these guys can fight their way to the front. It's been very difficult to pass tonight, and the guys up front have had a clear advantage.
You got a 50-year-old in Mark Martin. You got the 18-year-old, soon to be 19, in Joey Logano, who's been in the hunt. And Martin Truex Jr. taking 2 tires and that pit stop. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
1 lap to go under caution, Chris. Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, the Hendrick teammates. Up front, Ryan Newman, Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, the top 5, but 24 cars on the lead lap, and the first one that has fresh tires is Tony Stewart in 8th. Let's get the leader's strategy, Dick Bergman.
Interesting conversation between driver Mark Martin and his crew chief Alan Gustafson. Mark was told that they needed yellow flags in order to make it to the end, 3 or 4 of them, but then moments ago Gustafson told him, go ahead, lead the race, do what you have to do, and then later pedal it.
Well, they just tough to pedal at Darlington.
Yeah, I think what he's banking on is that Mark will be able to get that big lead. Yeah. We've seen all the lead cars get. But when Mark Martin's car goes by, look at it. It is pristine. Doesn't look like it looks like it just rolled off the truck. Not a scratch on it.
You're right.
This will be music to Alan Gustafson and Mark Martin's ear. They're adding a lap of caution. Just what they need.
I don't know. The only car I think tonight that can save gas is that baked beans car. Was in the back straightaway. Light is off atop the pace car. There's the front 5. 24 cars on the lead lap. Tony Stewart in 7th place, or 8th place, is the first car with new tires. So, have we seen the last caution flag of the night? Will this restart be the run to the checkered flag? We're about to find out.
Now, what's been interesting is we got a report that actually Mark Martin in the 5, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, when they could, under these caution laps, they've actually been shutting their engine off, trying to save more fuel to get to the end.
Hypermiling.
There you go.
Yeah.
Engine off, no burn, no fuel.
Ready to restart. Green flag. Mark Martin brings him down. 42 laps to go.
I think that Ryan Newman's going to be in a hurry, guys, because we've seen that car lead this race.
And he's been getting very good restarts.
He has, and he just puts a move here on, well, maybe not.
Kurt Busch may have caught the wall coming off turn 2. He's a little slow in the backstretch. He did get the wall.
But while those 2 guys were battling right there, the 48 and the 39, look at the lead already that Mark Martin has put on him in that 5 car. Cars are getting smaller and smaller back there, which is a beautiful thing when you're leading this race.
And when you put a guy like Mark Martin out front,
hit your marks, bud. Just hit your marks.
That's what he does best. He's flawless once he gets the lead.
In case you missed our pre-race show, Mark Martin made the announcement this week that he would be back full-time in 2010, driving for Hendrick Motorsports in this 5 car.
Obviously, he don't need no rocking chair. He just needs a big old bucket seat.
5th place battle. Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, Elliott Sadler. 5th, 6th, 7th. Jeff Gordon behind and closing. Here comes Truex inside of Dale Jr.
Oh, we got another car up in the wall. Yikes. I think it was 83.
No, it's Junior.
Oh, it's Junior.
In there, keep taking just say hi. I'll just clear down here.
Cosmetic damage. Truex keeps coming. He's under Sadler. makes the pass.
83 got in the wall too up here in 3 and 4, and he's got trouble. He's falling back. Got a tire down, I believe. Saw the sparks come out from under it.
Guys right behind that group there. In fact, he's no longer behind them. How about Greg Biffle in that 16 car? Remember, it was not that many laps ago that he was against the inside wall here on the front stretch, and now he's back in the top 10 with this 16 car.
Jimmie Johnson in second, Brad Keselowski in fourth. Both just ran their fastest laps of this race.
And what was it we said about McMurray? That he was out of it tonight.
Hard luck story.
Yeah, and look at him.
Back up
on the lead lap.
Back up in the top dozen.
This race car, I think back every week somebody in one of these race cars wrecks it bad enough that it should be out of the race, and they come out and get top 10 finishes.
Like McMurray last week at Richmond.
Yeah, or even Ambrose last week.
Ambrose and Jeff Burton. But Biffle is on the move. He knows the clock is ticking with 37 laps to go.
And Tony Stewart passed Keselowski for fourth.
Well, I think we're going to have a battle for the lead here pretty quickly, guys. That 48 car has done his magic once again. I'd like to go down there and find Chad Knaus's magic wand, because he waves one over this 48 car time and time again and finds it in this position.
All of these top 7 cars are running between 28.75 and 28.90. They are very evenly matched right now.
And you know, honestly, when you look at the top 6 cars right now, they are Hendrick cars or Hendrick affiliated. You've got Mark Martin, Jimmie Johnson, Brad Keselowski, Jeff Gordon all in the top 6, and then Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman that have that affiliation as well.
I'd say that the sharing of notes and technology will pays off pretty well.
Sure looks like it.
Here's Jimmie Johnson in second place, about to challenge Mark Martin for the lead. This is a backup car that did not turn a wheel on the racetrack until the pace lap tonight. After Jimmie crashed in qualifying.
Started dead last. Started at the back of the field.
There's his qualifying lap. Hard into the wall. Everything tethered and held to the race car. But that car's junk.
And he is there, guys. He is bearing down on the back of his teammate, Mark Martin, right now. He's looking at him. He's trying to set him up to figure out where can I make the pass.
In a no-lap backup car.
And you know what? There was a lot of frustration. I talked to Chad Knaus last night. I said, the car you've unloaded, where did you race it last? He said, you know what? I have no idea. They were that frustrated over that qualifying race.
But one thing I know about Darlington, when you bring a backup car here, you know it's a good one.
Sorry, Darrell. I think that's Vickers in the wall again.
He hit the wall hard in 3 and 4. And he's had a tire, I think, going down slowly.
No caution yet. There it is. Caution will wave.
Caution's out. Caution's out.
So we do get another caution. I believe he and Jamie McMurray got together after something broke there.
Yep. Done.
Now you'll see him come in from the right side of the screen when we show you this replay. That puts us under record caution flag number 16.
Oh, you see Vickers, I think something happened to his car, and he went up the hill and got into McMurray.
Nowhere for Jamie to go at 26.
No.
I've been seeing smoke and fire coming out of that car, and I think he had a tire going down slowly.
And if it wasn't for bad luck, Jamie Mack would just have no luck at all.
And I mean, they had overcome so much to get back on the lead lap, running in the top 15. But their troubles continue.
More tires.
And the free pass goes to the dinger. AJ will be the 24th car on the lead lap when we get the green flag. Pit road's open. We have some takers. There's Denny Hamlin, Jamie Mack, Elliott Sadler, along with our pole sitter, Matt Kenseth.
Well, all the guys at the front, they have made their bed now. They have to live with. I mean, with all these cars getting a free pass, we got almost 25, 26 cars on the lead lap right now.
Boy, I'm surprised the 17 came back down pit road. He must have some serious issues.
Darrell, he was running 17th. So he's only going to give up 6 spots or so, maybe less if he gets off pit road quickly. So probably not a bad gamble from where he was.
Not from where he was.
No.
actually. Just surprised how much trouble they've had tonight.
Carl Edwards returns to the race after having major damage.
And this is a tough place to drive a fast car. It's even a tougher place to drive a slow car, a wrecked car, because you can't stay out of people's way.
In fact, more coming out of the garage area. Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77 car. He is back out on the racetrack. So right now, the only car in the garage area that's not officially out would be Kyle Busch in the 18 car.
Cale Yarborough won this race 5 times. We talked to him at the top of the day. It's appropriate to get his thoughts now, because when Cale pulled those gloves up late in the race, you all knew you were in for a battle. I asked Cale about why he was so good and so tough as the race wound to its conclusion here at Darlington.
I was an athlete all my life, and I stayed in good physical condition all my life. And I know to be able to be an athlete and to play the full game or run the full race, you had to be in good shape. And I think that I was in a whole lot better shape than a lot of them at the end of that race. And I think when they saw me pull my gloves up, that they knew I meant business then.
Reserve spot in winner's alley for 5-time Southern 500 winner Cale Yarborough. And he was just as tough in the Coca-Cola 600. Said that extra 100 miles didn't bother him a bit. That's the next race on Fox. All-Star race next Saturday night. Coke 600 on Fox May 24th. The Autism Speaks 400 Sunday, May 31st.
And he was in great shape. There's no question about it. He kept those little smelling salts, those little tubes on his dash. He'd put 5 or 6 of those under, and he'd pop one every now and then and breathe him a little of that smelling sauce and pull those gloves up over his elbows, like I always said. And you were in for a fight, buddy.
The garage is clean. Kyle Busch in the 18, he's back out on the racetrack.
Of course, he can't take too long if he's going to get around him, because Tony Stewart's going to be all over the back of him.
I was going to say, speaking of bailing it off in there, Tony Stewart in that 14, he took her off into turn 3 that time.
Truex had a run on Jeff Gordon, could not complete the pass for 6th. And we go back to single file for now.
You know, based on the Talladega finish, Brad Keselowski sitting there in 5th.
Yeah.
Maybe these guys in front of him all crash and he'll win the race.
But you know what, Darrell? This has to make Brad Keselowski feel so good, because you know what? I think after winning at Talladega, people say, well, it's Talladega.
Yeah.
You know what? This is a driver's racetrack here.
Yeah, we've seen he and Joey Logano both tonight just do extraordinarily well on a tough racetrack.
And Logano's still in the top 10 behind Truex in 8th, with Biffle 9th and Jeff Burton 10th.
You know, we've got some cars just outside the top 10. What a recovery that they have made, like David Strimmy, Paul Menard, Bobby Labonte, all those cars on the lead lap.
Darrell, something's up with Mark Martin. He changed his line that time. Coming out of turn 4, went really low on the racetrack while Johnson stayed high.
Here's what's going on right now. It's funny you mentioned that. Jimmy Johnson, watch him go into turn 3. He is driving, he's overdriving his race car. Jimmy Johnson is. He bails it off into 3, closes the gap. But watch Mark.
Pays the price coming off the corner.
Mark's doing that, what David Pearson said you do here. I don't care how hard you drive in, just get back in the gas right here.
If memory serves me right, that's what Cale Yarborough told Joey Logano.
Oh, trouble right here. The 88's around.
Front straightaway. Junior brings out the caution.
More cars coming.
Everybody gets by.
Go down to the right if you can.
That'll be caution number 17 if you're keeping count at home.
Yeah, I was pretty sure
a little bit of left rear there. I had to put some Bondo around the right rear to the bump.
Well, Larry, that's good news for the drivers that stayed out and were hoping for a fuel mileage run, like Brad Keselowski and Ryan Newman.
Thing looks
and
like
Jimmy Johnson.
Looks like a crunched up Mountain Dew can tonight.
Still out there, still there, still outside there.
Where we made contact.
Outside. Stay low, hold the brake there, hold the brake there. Get ready to let it roll, let it roll.
It's like he was trying to stay off that 43 car, and when he yanked the wheel, it just came around with him. You know, that 43 car, Reed Sorensen, I don't know that we've mentioned him all night long. He had to start this race at the rear of the field because of an engine change. I just looked at his race car. It looks pretty clean, and he's sitting there in the top 20. These guys have actually quietly had some pretty good runs over the last few weeks.
Yeah, Casey Kane said of the cars at Richard Petty Motorsports, he has done the best job of all of them the last several weeks.
Reed Sorensen in 18. Maybe the next one will be the last restart. We got 24 laps to go in Darlington. Dale Jr. comes to pit road as we're ready for the restart. 21 laps to go. Same running order: Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, the top 5. 24 lead lap cars. The free pass to Casey Kane. That is Mark Martin making the shift. 3rd, 4th. And trying to get away from Jimmy Johnson.
Grabbed 4th gear just before he got down to turn 1. Well, 48 car got a good run off turn 2 that time. But like Darrell pointed out, here's where he's been almost overdriving his race car. Car goes up the hill.
You're good. You're good.
The 48 car is just overdriving. He's driving in really hard, but he's not able to get Mark's accelerating off the corner, and that's where Mark's beating him.
20 to go.
Now here this time he might have something for him. He got a run. He's even with him off of 2. He might have something for him getting into 3 this time.
Mark's right in the middle of the racetrack, though. Gives him the bottom.
If he ever gets a nose up under there.
He's there, Darrell.
Back, you're clear.
It's going to be hard to pass Mark.
Hit the box, buddy.
It's hard to pass on the low side through turn 4. The car just binds up down there.
Yeah, you got to turn the wheel so much you just lose a lot of speed.
Now they have distanced Tony Stewart by half a second.
2 by, nice and smooth.
It's just amazing to me to sit here and watch how Mark is just easing in the corner, but how he is shooting off the corner. I mean, just what he loses getting in, he gains twice that getting off.
But you're right, Mike. He's running about a half a lane to a full lane lower through turn 4 than Jimmy.
Pretty fast lap times, too. 28.78, 28.86 right there. Mark's going to distance him, I believe. It just that overdriving the car, it just used up the tires quicker than Mark will.
But Jimmy's last lap was his fastest lap of the race. And yet, he cannot get by his Hendrick teammate.
And Mark's actually starting to put a little bit of distance on him. 17 to go.
Good job. You're pulling him. Nice and smooth. Hit the mark.
No change in the top 10. In fact, everything pretty much single file. Greg Biffle has been wearing out Joey Logano for 8th place, and Logano's having none of it.
Yeah. I think he might be looking under him this time. And, of course, like I say, getting under somebody down here is not always doesn't necessarily mean you're going to pass, but Joey gave it to him that time.
Yeah, Greg really beat him off of turn 2, and then you don't complete the pass to the next set of corners here.
Krista?
Something they talked to Joey Logano about before that restart was how he is working the corner. Joey was saying that his car was getting a little bit loose in and he couldn't turn. They reminded him how he was working the corners before. Easy on the throttle. They had to remind him a little bit about that in these last 20 laps.
Well, this car, this COT car does not like to be overdriven. I think the guys that have had the most success with it are the guys that understand that and understand backing the corner up like we're seeing Mark Martin doing.
Now Jeff Gordon has caught Ryan Newman for 4th, got right up to his rear bumper, no closer.
Mike, just a few laps ago, you talked about Jimmy Johnson running his fastest lap. Mark Martin about a lap ago ran his fastest lap of this race. He knows the clock is about out.
Smoker off turn 4.
That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. 88 car. He was just back on pit road about a lap before this.
No caution.
Big time smoke coming out of his car. I'm not sure where that's coming from.
14 to go. Oh yeah. Left front tire rub.
Got a tire rub. Yep.
Just trying to make it to the finish.
And I tell you what that did. That smoke slowed Mark Martin down just a little bit. He saw the smoke. I don't think he knew where it was coming from. And here comes Jimmy Johnson one more time. Mark's got that bottom off of turn 4 there down to perfection. But I tell you, you don't ever count Jimmy Johnson out when he's this close to the lead.
Nope, it's like he maybe cools his tires down just a little bit, makes another run. 13 to go.
David Stremme smoking a bit into one. That's another tire rub. His teammate Kurt Busch goes by him for 16th.
I really think what happened that last time by, though, Mark saw that smoke off the 88 car, and he checked up just a little bit to be sure there wasn't any oil or anything.
Now he's pulling back away just a little bit from Jimmy Johnson. 12 to go. Here's the two crew chiefs, Alan Gustafson, crew chief for Mark Martin, Chad Knaus. He's got a Jimmy Johnson to 3 championships.
Chad Knaus has got to be sitting there thinking, I don't care what happens from here on in. I've had a nice night, considering all things considered.
How about our leader, Dick?
Well, about 5 laps ago, Mark Martin was told he was good to go, and then about 2 laps ago, he was told, take it easy on the throttle. There is no certainty that Mark Martin has enough gas to win this race.
And I think part of the reason, the lap times are running. They're using more fuel.
Oh, yeah, he can't soft pedal it now.
All right, Stremme's brought his car to pit road, and Jeff Gordon again goes after Ryan Newman. This is for 4th. With Truex looking in.
He's lurking back there in that 1 car.
Don't count Keselowski out either. He's right there as well, right behind the 1 car. There's still some serious racing going on right here at the end of this race.
The neat thing about this race is there's a dozen drivers who've driven a really great race tonight. Only one's going to go to victory lane.
Well, I think the Mark Martin it's just a 500-mile race in a Southern 500. They just go together.
He's going to catch David Rudiman, I believe, but Rudiman moved up to the high side, which actually worked for Mark. Maybe held Jimmy Johnson up just for a second.
Yeah, Rudiman was in. Rudiman was in Johnson's lane that time.
Greg Biffle led the most laps. He's fought his way back.
We don't have anything for him.
Way back to 6th.
Just start rolling back just a little bit then.
Jimmy just
make sure we finish this thing 9 laps ago.
Jimmy just told him we don't have anything for him. Roll out of it a little bit.
Yeah, Chad Knaus told him we want to finish this thing.
That's good news for Mark, because now he can back off a little bit.
And Jimmy still has 2 seconds on Tony Stewart in 3rd. And even so, at 3rd place, Stewart would get his best ever finish at Darlington.
And you know what these 2 cars are trying to do? They're trying to go 70 laps on a tank of fuel, but I just feel like with the number of cautions that we've had, that they're both should be in good shape and be able to make it.
I think if you base your calculations on earlier in the race, Larry, like you said, lap times are much quicker right now than they were 100 laps ago.
And remember, we've got 2 other cars in the top 10 that are in the same boat. One of them is right there, Ryan Newman in that 39 car. He has not pitted since 297. Brad Keselowski is the other one.
But the 4 drivers who have led the most laps tonight are not going to figure in this one. Greg Biffle, Martin Truex, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane. Mark Martin has led 39 laps.
Well, we know teammates monitor teammates, and it was just relayed to me that they relayed to Mark Martin what Jimmy Johnson just told Chad Knaus, that I don't have anything for him, and they're going to start conserving fuel a little bit because he has a little bit of a cushion over Tony Stewart, who's back in 3rd.
And you can see that Mark has stretched it out considerably over Jimmy now, but I do believe that it's going to be a nail biter here as far as fuel goes on Mark's car.
Martin, Johnson, and Newman last pitted at lap 297.
Bob Moore, big lead, just take care of it. Nice and easy on that gas. 48 on you, 80 on him.
Tony Stewart has plenty of fuel. He came to pit road 24 laps later.
I tell you what, though, looking at the lap times, Mark has not slowed down a lot.
No, Stewart is matching Mark Martin, but not closing.
And you know, if the 5 car can close the deal here tonight with 4 laps to go, if you just remember, after race number 4, they were almost outside the top 35 in points. If they can pull this off tonight, they will actually move into the top 12, just like Darrell Walter predicted in the pre-race.
Yeah, we felt like at the 33, I thought the 33 was having more trouble and looked like he was the guy that might come out. There was room for one guy to get in, and that was Mark Martin.
He would jump 4 positions into that all-important top 12. 3 to go this time.
3 more. He's way back there.
And I tell you, Rick Hendrick.
3 on you, 71 on him.
Rick Hendrick has been at home the last couple of weeks. He hadn't been feeling well. Rick, this ought to make you feel a lot better, buddy. Your little man's bringing it home for you one more time.
And he has 4 cars in the top 7. Jeff Gordon's in 5th. Brad Keselowski, we've been talking about, is in 7th.
That's a great run for Keselowski, too. I'm telling you, for a rookie here, young guy.
Great run for him and for Logano, the 2 rookies, 7th and 9th.
No pressure. No pressure.
Great turnaround for Kevin Harvick. He's going to get a top 10 tonight.
Mark Martin.
That is if he can hold off Matt Kenseth.
I was going to say, he's got his hands full of that 17 car right now, Kevin Harvick, the 29.
50 years old and having the time of his life. Is that not American dream?
Mark Martin won the 1993 Southern 500. He has 25 top 10s here. This is his 43rd Darlington race, and he's on the money lap.
1 to go.
Has a pretty clean racetrack in front of him. There's 1 car out there about 4 or 5 car lengths. He's halfway down the back straightaway now.
What a great night for him and his team. He can almost coast home from here.
Man, I think we're going to make it.
I think
the
you
old
are,
man, Mark Martin. 2nd win of the season, 2nd win at Darlington. Mark Martin wins at Darlington.
That's big. That's big, boys.
Call, guys.
You did it, man. You did it, Alan. Great job, man.
That is awesome.
Nice job, boy. That whole team. What a deal.
Mark's 37th Sprint Cup win.
That's what I'm talking about.
Comes in his 733rd start. In the last 7 races, he has 6 top 10s. He becomes the 6th driver to win at Darlington for car owner Rick Hendrick. Here's today's monster moment presented by NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. It is the victory lap for 50-year-old Mark Martin, who last pitted on lap 296, but sped home to victory and wins a marathon at the track too tough to tame. Stay tuned to NASCAR 7 days a week with in-car audio, live race radio stats, and more. With NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, it'll change the way you experience the race. Visit sprint.com/speed to find out more. Only on the Now Network.
Boy, I was getting all excited. I thought he was going to do a burnout.
He told us at Phoenix he doesn't do burnouts.
No burnouts for the old man. No, I understand.
He's just going to get the checkered flag and
it's old school, baby. Old school.
For the 12th time in NASCAR history, a Sprint Cup race has been won by a driver past his 50th birthday. Mark Martin. We'll be right back.
Fireworks for Mark Martin, who just announced this week that he would run full-time in the Cup Series next year. Having a pretty good year here, moving into chase contention for the first time this season. Let's head down to Victory Lane at Steve Burns.
Well, thank you, Chris. Mark, before the season started, you said you had rediscovered your passion, your fire to win on a weekly basis, your 2nd win of 2009. How does it feel?
Oh, man, it feels great. I want to thank the fans and Cheez-It, CarQuest, Chevrolet for all their support, and, of course, Sprint, Alan Gustafson, and this race team, the boss. Hey, Rick, thank you, man. I'm loving it, man. That was so incredible, man. Once we got out front, man, it was just easy. Car was awesome.
How close were you at the end on gas, Mark?
We never sucked in the air, so I guess we had enough. I don't know. We worked pretty hard to save some gas, but I don't know how close it was. My history, I always run out. So that's pretty neat to be able to make it. I don't know how much we had, but we tried to save what we could. But out front, I was really gassing it up a lot, too, whenever the 48 would get up on me. So I knew I could be burning more than we'd seen, too. So just a great day, and I just want to thank everybody for, just for letting me do this. This is a great race team.